Welcome back to Creepcast.
Today we're going to be diving into a story called I Solved the Fermi Paradox and I Regret It. We're not alone. This is by Grand Theft Auto, the author of The Whistlers, also the author of Maria and the Moon. I really liked Maria and the Moon. I think that it was a very beautiful story. So happy to dive back into this and get a little. I don't know what the Fermi Paradox means though. Don't know what the hell that is. Isaiah, do you know what the Fermi Paradox is?
I do know what the Fermi Paradox is. Do you want an honest answer? Or do you want me to lie?
Well, do you think that would be actually fuck it? It might. Do you think that it's gonna ruin the would it ruin a reveal, or do you think it's just like gonna be pretty obvious?
I think it'll be pretty obvious. So the Fermi Paradox is the paradox between the supposed high probability of there being life among the stars or aliens and the reality that there's been no evidence of them.
Ooh, we don't get a lot of alien stories, do we?
We don't get a lot of alien stuff, but it might not necessarily be alien. It could be like he realizes Earth is in a simulation, or like there's a giant creature that's destroyed all the other civilizations or something like that.
I thought I saw a UFO, but it was only the creature.
Yeah. It was the creature that eats UFOs, leaving us to be the only. Yeah. I thought that there were other civilizations in space, but then I saw the civilization eating creature.
But I saw the civilization was eaten by the creature.
I
like that. I like aliens as a concept. You know, there's so many silly images of aliens that. I mean, I personally, when I was younger, I was just like, aliens are fucking stupid. I was like, I never thought that. I was never like aliens are cool. It wasn't.
Yeah, they were very boomer. I was never into them, you know? Yeah.
It's definitely, exactly. And I remember that it was like at some point in my teenage years that I started actually thinking about like space and stuff. And I was like, oh no. I was like, oh God, that's kind of frightening. And I like whenever a movie, the problem with aliens in horror movies is that like, in terms of like, at least abduction is the one that I think is thrown around the most. Not necessarily like Alien, where it's like xenomorphs and all that stuff. I'm talking about like on Earth, gray alien meme or whatever. They usually drop the bag quite a bit, but I'm always hyped to give it a chance, at least in terms of movies and stuff, you know?
Even like, I don't know, man. It's because there's so much you can do with monsters and the supernatural. I feel like the whole aliens take me to your leader gray man thing is so played out, and there's never that much interesting done with him that even when it is done well, I'm kind of like, eh. Like the best examples of alien stuff I can think of are like, honestly, probably Signs and how it actually treats the aliens. And then The Fourth Kind, Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. That movie was pretty creepy. But I feel like it's always like, oh, well, this would be a better movie if it wasn't a gray alien. Are
you talking about the Mia Jovovich, what's her name? Mia Jovovich or whatever? That Fourth Kind? Where it's pretend to be a documentary? Are you talking Close Encounters of the Third
found
Kind?
Footage one. That's it. Yeah.
Which one?
The found footage one with the aliens. Yeah.
That should be the Fourth Kind. Well, at least I don't know. It's mixed media. They did the found footage, or at least the Fourth Kind, which was one of the, like, when I was younger, scared the fuck out of me because it presents itself as like fake documentary and then like reenactments of things from like this from like a therapist, like the camera she uses in her sessions. It's actually, from when I was younger, it was very effective. I don't know if it holds up, but I haven't seen that movie in forever. I just remember I just like Mia Jovovich or whatever the fuck her name is, because I really loved The Fifth Element and I loved the Resident Evil movies when they came out when I was younger. I was like, she's beautiful. So I remember that really freaked me out at the end because
she was pretty bad. She was pretty bad.
But the guy's like shaking at the end, and it's like, there is no God, we are your gods. And I remember being like, no! I got really scared by that. And then I remember I love the idea of horror films where they're based around like found footage horror films where it's based around people like trying to uncover truths about aliens or like Area 51. I like a lot. Like there's this horror, I think I've said this before, but the movie Area 51 looks like a really cheap like rental movie you can get on Amazon. It's actually a pretty fun found footage film of people trying to sneak into Area 51. That one's pretty cool. But I remember like, you know, movies like Phoenix Rising, I think is what it's called, or something. It was something about kids that get that like go into the Phoenix desert for the Phoenix Lights, because that was like a big UFO thing too, is the Phoenix Lights. And it was based around that, and it was kind of a letdown. But I don't know. Moral of the story is the idea of I don't know, creatures or entities or things that have super superior technology is frightening in theory, but then I'm always just like, what the fuck are they like wanting to do with us? Why would they even come here? That would be if I was an alien and I came to Earth, I'd be fucking bummed. You traveled all that way and then you ended up here. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of stuff with them where it's like, all right, you're all the way here. You have intergalactic travel. So you're either here to decimate us and take our stuff. And if not that, then what are we doing? Do you think the probing phenomenon of people being like, was taking a probe, was that people just trying to hide the fact that they were having like gay sex back in the day? No, but that's a really funny theory.
I mean, I'm just trying, because like out of all the stars, I think I've heard people say this before, but it's like you go everywhere and like the first thing you do is play with your butt. Like what are they so fascinated with the butt for?
What oh aliens. I thought you were saying that's an old saying. Like if you go somewhere, first thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's a saying in my household, at least.
Yeah.
We go somewhere, go mess with the butt.
The idea is like, oh well, they're taking samples or whatever.
Of what?
I don't know how the joke started, but what might have happened is someone got really high, because this is in like the 60s and 70s, right? So someone's
maybe in 50s,
on acid.
Right?
Well, it started in the 50s, but I feel like the
but
probing
60s
thing,
with the space race stuff or whatever.
Yeah. And then like I feel like 70s was really when like the little gray man became popular in media. So like around that time, people are like getting really high out in the desert, and then someone probably, you know, to be honest, took a little bit of advantage or a lot of advantage of them, and then they come out of it and they saw the gray aliens, and the gray aliens probed their butt.
I could imagine that it's happened before, but I think the Fermi paradox is people, gay men in Kansas, closeted gay farmers in Kansas. The Fermi paradox is figuring out if they can flatten their cornfield enough to have gay sex in it, and then have people come over the next day and you're like, yeah, you're waddling funny. It's because there's an alien. And you walk over, and then there's the crop circle, and it's like, that's where he picked me up, and it's all an elaborate ruse to have gay sex. That's the Fermi paradox in my eyes now. That's what it will be. Like that's what conspiracy theorists and scientists will be saying when I hear, oh, the Fermi paradox. I'm going to say, oh yeah, sure, those farmers out in Kansas. That's all I'll say.
So before Hunter tries to tell you to cut that in post, you leave all of that. You leave every word he said.
I think it's a sound theory. I think it's a sound theory. I'm standing by it.
You think it's a sound theory that the Fermi paradox is so closeted farmers in Kansas can make air, because they need whole fields. Apparently, they can't do it in the home.
No,
they need a whole field.
Someone's going to catch me.
Which? To be honest, I can't tell if that's a willing participant or an unwilling participant.
It's a willing participant for sure. It's some guy being like, I'm giving into my. At first, there was probably like religious things where they're just like, you know, I feel like in the Bible Belt, people are so repressed. I mean, think about almost every serial killer. It's just a guy who's unable to be like, yeah, I'm gay and I like what it's people repressed, and it's like they're around them. They feel like they can't be themselves, all that kind of stuff. So they have to like fabricate these like lives or realities to fit to either suppress their feelings or to like have like some kind of guilty shame about doing stuff, right? Like Jeffrey Dahmer, fucking I'm pretty sure BTK, like all this weird stuff, which I could be wrong with BTK, I don't know. But he is actually from Kansas and he's a fucking loser. But they're all losers. whatever. I'm backing myself in a corner here.
So this is awesome. This is awesome. Editor, don't cut any of this. So your take is that the majority of serial killers were just gay.
I think closeted homosexuals who couldn't express themselves. Yes. Not, I wouldn't say the majority, but I would say there is a vast majority of people who feel like I guess like the fucking people that they're around. Because wasn't that kind of the same thing with even Ed Gein, or am I wrong? Or is it literally just
Ed Gein was
Jeffrey
the
Dahmer,
mommy issue stuff?
Oh, well, mommy issue stuff too. It's always something though. I mean, I don't fucking know. It's always something.
Ed Gein was the one who like dug up his mom's body and like used cadavers of women to make like skin lamps and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the story is we're reading an alien story today called the Fermi Paradox.
All that about, like, it's like you go with your buddies, make a cornfield, serial killers most often. Anyway, Grand Theft Auto, Fermi Paradox.
Yeah. I don't know. If any of that makes sense, feel free. Otherwise, if it's just rambling, whatever. I saw the Fermi Paradox and I regret it. We're not alone. That's what we're reading today. If you are watching this and you hate how disgusting I look on camera, feel free to listen on Spotify. It's a nice little place that you can support us. So feel free to go over there. And also, if you're looking for some extra content about maybe more talks of aliens and other things, feel free to check out our Patreon where we got other episodes, exclusive episodes for Patreon. We thank you a lot for it.
You forgot to mention the author. You forgot to talk about the author.
No, I didn't. I said Grand Theft Auto. Everything.
Okay, well, that's not all the information about him. So,
oh, feel free then. You jump in. This is a 2-man show here.
Yeah, but you didn't leave the door open for me. You just like shut the door. You were like, have fun with the shut door. So
I see.
This is me opening the door back up and now talking. So.
Seeing farmers having gay sex in the cornfield.
Yeah, that's all I got. That we got all of that before we even breathed the name of who wrote it. So Grand Theft Auto, we have covered on the show before. Real name is Travis Brown, and Travis is a fantastic writer. On the show, we have covered Maria on the Moon and Something Walks Whistling Past My House at 3:03 a.m. I believe that's the only stories from him we've covered. There may have been another one in a grab bag I'm missing. We can put on screen now if I forget it. But Travis is a very accomplished author. He has this story, which is very highly rated online as well. And he also has some books, including The House with 100 Doors and How to Build a Haunted House, which to my understanding are both anthology books. But I mean, he has his own website, TB Writes, and he posts short stories constantly. So we'll have all of his stuff linked in the description. If you enjoy his writing style, be sure to check him out. He certainly deserves it. And last time we covered him, you all were very supportive, and a bunch of people went and supported him, on his site, buying his books and stuff like that. And that means a lot. So we really appreciate that.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, now I think I've got that out of my system. I can be ready. So without further ado, after much ado, I solved the Fermi paradox and I regret it. We're not alone. Part 1. The Fermi paradox is, in a nutshell, an expression of how odd it is that there's no proof of alien life when it seems so likely given the extraordinary size of the universe. With an infinite number of suns, each cradling a ring of planets in their orbit, why haven't we encountered any sign of someone else out there? No radio signals, no transmissions, no visitors. Existence was too vast for us to be alone. So where was everyone? I wish we never answered that question. The first man to make contact with alien life was Calvin Myers. Born blind, Calvin was the first patient to receive prosthetic eyes developed by Redacted, a medical miracle. But from the moment his new eyes opened, Calvin started screaming. He was sedated. It was several hours before he was calm enough to tell doctors what happened. It turns out that Calvin saw the devil, or devils actually, demons, monsters, slouching, sharp things infesting the corners of the room. He watched warped reflections across the mirrors, shadows ripple, evil faces stare down from the ceiling. Calvin ripped his plastic eye from their sockets. Darkness was better, he told his doctors.
Calvin saw farmers in Kansas. He saw obese farmers in Kansas, and he's like, "Get me out!" That's all he said.
So I think it's interesting because as established, you're in Alaska now, but you've talked about being from the Kansas, Missouri, Midwest area, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's fascinating that when you tell a story about repressed men being put in uncomfortable positions because they can't act on their desires, you choose to place that character in the same location you're from. That's interesting.
What does Popeye say? I am what I am.
And then I don't think you're obese. I've never called you obese. But
the textbook medical definition is morbid obesity.
Look.
The doctor looks at me. The glasses are on the edge of their nose, and they look at me, and they do. I mean, it's they should just start calling it Grim Reaper obesity instead of morbid obesity. I think it would sink in a little more. Does that make sense? You hear that knock? Knock, what's that knock? I can't hear it. What? I can't hear the knock. Oh, I hear this knocking. It's death. It's at your door. It's like Grim Reaper's just outside my door at all times.
So my point being, like, I would never refer to you as obese, but you often refer to yourself as obese. So now when you're describing this morbid obese, and now when you're describing this closeted farmer from, again, the same area you're from, you have now added the adjective of obese to the farmer. So I feel like we're getting closer to you kind of fully bringing this back around to yourself. And I just want you to know that you can be comfortable. I'm your friend. We're all your friend. You can talk to us about anything you want to talk to us about. And you don't have to hide behind these euphemisms.
I understand that I am a flyover state specimen. I'm a lizard in the tall grass, but I was just saying that if the first thing I saw when I got plastic eyes, apparently, and it was a overall wearing Kansas farmer, I would take a spoon and I would gorge it out myself.
Mm-hmm. Even if it is just a farmer, nothing supernatural about it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Literally, that's it.
Yeah.
The specimen that walk around the Midwest, Isaiah, are more haunting than anything. I'm sure the Appalachians could produce.
Interesting. Well, I mean, we've got our own class of people, but I'm sure that it's similar font, different flavor kind of thing.
It's probably true.
Anyway, aliens, demons, whatever. A full report was made to Redacted. There was never any serious consideration of killing the project. Too much money was invested. Market goals were set, and management had expectations. So more devices were produced, distributed, tested, and each time it was the same. The moment the test subject opened their new eyes, they witnessed a world crowded with horrors. I'll never forget what I saw when doctors removed my bandages. Eyes staring back at me. They were huge, the size of truck tires, blue and bloodshot, connected directly to my wall. I could tell the guys noticed me. Worse, they hated me. There were other abominations in the room as well. A hairy imp with the face of a child, a woman made of spikes and red light, a coiled pile of limbs, each jagged hand opening and closing slowly. So I really love that descriptor of like a woman made of spikes and red light. Like, it's so vague. What does that even mean? That's so cool.
I've been trying to even think about the eyes. How, like, when someone looks at you and they feel like you feel like there's almost a threat or someone hates you. It's kind of a very feral response. It's very primal almost with how they're talking about it. Just like a kind of like, I mean, I've been trying to just trying to think with how I would look at someone if I hated them.
Well, most of that's in like your face, right? Like your brow furrowing
True,
and stuff like that.
how your mouth is positioned, all that stuff.
So maybe just an eye would be like it's locked on you and it's like bloodshot and shaking a little bit or something, you know?
A farmer trying to repress his sexual urges.
There we go.
Right,
there it is. We're back around. No, we're back around. We're bringing it back around. Yep. Hey, it's your world. We're just living in it, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, buddy.
Why is the guy looking at me? Oh, that's just a farmer. Try not to have gay sex. Staring at the wall. I hate myself.
The doctor's Mr. Widemouth.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying, Doc.
I'm gonna give you these new eyes, so you can see stuff. But I'm telling, I don't know. I don't know what it is about these eyes. It's happened like a dozen times now.
Doc, do you think that guy around the corner is handsome? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
Oh, not again.
I'm going to go stare in the mirror and glare at myself for 45 minutes. Okay. All right.
It's gonna happen again. Oh no. I'm gonna be sick. It's incredible, Mr. Widemouth, that you got your practitioner's license. Oh, it was a lot of hard work.
I'm a pediatrician. Okay, well I'm 53, so I don't know why you're talking to me.
I'm coming to you from the wall of the cryptid iceberg, don't ask, to talk about today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is here to make eating healthier easier. With over 175 banned ingredients, Factor Meal is designed around what supports a healthier lifestyle and nothing that doesn't. Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals that are designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. And that's why 97% of their users agree that Factor helps them live a healthier lifestyle. Because it helps you eat good food without the time and without the guilt. Because eating healthy is a whole lot easier when you don't have to worry about grocery trips or prep work. The Factor helps you power your day sun up to sundown with breakfast options, snacks, on-the-go juices, as well as, of course, their lunches and premium dinners. In just 2 minutes, you can heat, eat, and enjoy. With 100 rotating meal options every week, I'm sure you'll find something you'll love. And every week, that over 100 options will contain a lot of nutrient-dense options, including some of their new offerings like salmon burgers, shredded pork, and collard greens. And Factor has tailored meal options catering to your goals, whether that be weight loss, overall nutrition, protein, GLP-1 support, gluten-free, and more. At this point, Factor can send me whatever they want. Whatever I have had with them, even if I didn't think I would like it on paper, ended up being great. Now they're throwing options my way like the truffle butter chicken and mushroom risotto. Like, say less. Of course, the best part about all of this is there's no prep work, no grocery lines, and virtually no cleanup. So if you want to spend the rest of your summer days in the hot sun rather than in a hot kitchen, then you can get in on Factor now. And if you're interested in Factor, then now's the perfect time. That's because if you head to the link in the description at factormeals.com/creepcast50off and use code creepcast50off, you'll get half off your Factor box and one free breakfast item per box for a year. That's right, half off and one free item per box for a year. Now this offer is only while supplies last up until Halloween. So if you want the free item for a year, make sure you get in on it before then. See their website for more details, but once again, that's factormeals.com/creepcast50off and code creepcast50off to get in on their incredible offer today. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring the show. Their link will be in the description, and we are now back to the episode.
I screamed until my throat was raw, till I passed out. When I awoke, the first thing I did was try to take my eyes out. But the doctors had learned their lesson with Calvin. I was restrained, monitored, forced to look. Every day was a parade of nightmares. Shadows melted and ran like a Rorschach across the ceiling, dripping down onto my chest. I couldn't feel them land, but I saw them puddle into violent faces that stared back into my new designer eyes. Everything was worse at night. I begged the doctors to keep the lights on. If I had to see monsters, I wanted to at least see them clearly. But my requests were ignored. Terrible figures danced down the hall outside my room. Something crawled above my bed, wheezing, and out the window. My doctors recorded all of my rants. They medicated me, tested me, poked and prodded, and disbelieved. Occasionally, I heard shrieking drift down the hallway when my door was open. I knew I wasn't the only one in the hospital with new eyes. Others could see.
Bear Trap, he's in a UFO, potentially?
That's a good option. I could take that.
I mean, like, it seems like
I'll put 30 on that. 30 over under.
I like the I like this idea though that like it's kind of interesting when people are like, oh well, we're giving you this miracle treatment, but like it's causing people to almost go into a psychosis whenever they wake up, so you have to restrain them and they have to get used to it. It's fun, but I could also see a world where like these people have been abducted and they're being experimented on, and like they're seeing like they're almost put in like a simulation that is a normal hospital, but they're like seeing through that like kind of almost like Oculus barrier, like in an Oculus where it's like you have to have like a certain square parameter, and if you go out of it, it like breaks it. I'm like wondering if it's like that. I really like the Rorschach description. That's a fun way to describe like seeing entities kind of come, like looking at like weird people kind of coming in and out of your peripherals or like in and out of your eyesight.
Yeah, I do. It's kind of a funny image to me that like this company keeps implanting eyes in people,
and they're screaming.
And the people are like, oh my gosh, make it stop. They're like, huh.
Another success.
Well, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it down the hall in 1 hour. Like, just
yeah. All right. Well, let's go do that again to another soul.
Yeah.
No.
Because it's like I can hear multiple people screaming down the hallway, and it's like, they just like dip your plugs in, just la 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 la. Put
Doc, why are people screaming? They just had the beautiful gift of eyesight. Okay.
And I will too, right? Yes. As long as. After nearly a month, they finally released me. I'd lied to them last week, told them I couldn't see the creatures anymore, so I was set free, given meds and a journal. Call us if you observe anything unusual, they told me. They have no idea.
I was going to have gay sex out in the cornfield. That's when I met the creature.
The creature that has sex in the cornfield. Oh, no. That's a scary cryptid.
Oh,
that's the kind of thing you got to stay away from.
What's your name, handsome?
Like, 12 foot tall, like tentacle monster.
You get over here, you kiss me.
The way you said that, what's your name, handsome, made it sound like he was picking it up at a bar.
Exactly. It's 12 feet tall. It's huge. The guy's just like, well, my lucky stars. I didn't realize.
Like people against the wall screaming. Like,
hell, I thought Christmas only came once a year. You get your ass over here and you dance with me. Kind of romantic, actually. It's kind of nice.
Like this eyeless snarled beast monster's blushing. He's like,
no, it's fine. We'll flatten the corn. And we'll just say we got a deck.
We got to flatten the cornfields.
We're gonna be rolling around the hay. Actually, what if that's what it was? It's farmers having sex and they're rolling around and it's in a circle and they're like, oh, there's UFO.
If that's what it is, hats off to him, because that's a crazy surface area.
Oh my god,
it's so huge.
Oh man, they were fun. That's passion, is what that is. Holy hell!
That's that farmer in that 12-foot man beast thing
no
out there for a romantic night,
folding all those corn stalks and stuff. He's like, I thought we were mud wrestling, not doing origami.
They get married, have a beautiful life together.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The 12-foot tall monster. Oh, come on now, give me some sugar.
They have like sending their kids off to school.
Yeah,
growing old together.
Yeah. I figured we could take Timothy and Sarah to the pumpkin patch tomorrow. All right, sweetie, hey, come here. You give me some sugar before you leave. She like rips the portal to hell and jumps in or whatever. All right, see you tonight. Have fun at work.
Goes straight into the abyss.
Yeah, goes murders someone on the other side of the world, then comes back. Made you some succotash. All right.
Made you some succotash. I love how wholesome you're describing.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful, beautiful home, loving family.
Oh, it couldn't be better. Just blood all over the floor, dripping.
Yeah, it's constantly pressed into the ceiling. It's so big. Like,
yeah, the house is nowhere near big enough for this creature. Mud room, clean up in the mud room. Oh man, every time.
I've told you once. I'm not going to tell you again. When you come home from work, you go through that door because that's the door that's got the drain in the floor. Now I'm making spaghetti.
Exactly. You gotta go wash up. It's spaghetti and Texas toast nice. Yes, it's the Texas toast from Walmart. Come on.
just them sitting on a truck bed, but like the monster side is like broken into the ground.
Like pus pustules and stuff popping on his neck. And he's like, how the hell did I get so lucky? No, so tell me. You're a gift sent from God. Ishkar Balakashkar. He's like trying to pronounce his name.
Ishkar Sagar, bringer of doom.
Yeah, I'm so glad I unearthed that monolith and had gay sex with you.
Just love I like how the farmer, like, this thing doesn't have a gender. It's like some other being, but he still calls it gay sex.
Oh, yeah. He's a farmer from Kansas. What else does he know? He doesn't know what the hell it is.
I mean, it's just like them floating above the bed, like becoming like astral projections.
Get down here.
Oh.
Oh, you always talk in your sleep, don't you? It's all right. He buys him. He takes his eldritch tongue. He takes it as sleep apnea. Gets him a CPAP machine. Now you're not going to be snoring. He's like, it's like floating objects in his room. Come on, you're snoring again, sweetie. Fucking put it on. We should probably actually read the story.
I mean, I was just gonna let you run with that as long as you want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember them. I'm gonna remember them.
Also, every time that it says redacted, I'm gonna say it's the state of Kansas. By the way.
Okay, I'll just say Kansas when I'm reading.
All right.
On my bus ride home, I saw 3 named men with goat heads and swollen bellies, each as tall as a sycamore tree, sprinting down the highway.
Jesus.
A rotting whale floated over us, white guts spilling out like spoiled milk. It ate the clouds it passed, and when it came into the light, I could see through it, every bone and vein. I've thought about removing my eyes, plucking them from my skull like jelly from the jar, but I'm too afraid. Not just of the pain, but also the creatures will still be out there. Maybe not seeing them, but knowing they're watching me would be worse. You haven't heard about my eyes, I'm sure of it. Kansas won't let the word out until they're ready. I'm breaking every NDA on the planet by posting my story online, but you need to know. Because now that some of us have seen the invisible abominations that exist out in the open, they've become bolder. I feel them now at night. They touch my neck gently or slap me. Some take little bites, testing, poking, prodding. It's only a matter of time before they make themselves known. I'm not sure what we can do to protect ourselves or if we even can, but knowing is the first part. Believing. So believe me when I tell you, wherever you're reading this, if you think you're alone, you are not. You never are. You can't see them, but they are very aware of you. Stay steady. Don't rattle. Try not to panic. I've spent every night sleeping in my tub with every light on in the house. The fear is crippling, a chain around my throat that keeps me from leaving my home. But I'm so tired of being afraid, of being alone. You might not have my eyes, but I think you can see them if you look carefully. Focus. Use the corner of your vision. Watch your mirrors carefully for movement. Maybe you'll see something, or maybe something will show itself if it thinks you're searching. Like I said, they're getting bolder.
There's the end of part 1. It's kind of an interesting take on aliens. Is this reminds me a lot of like being able to see things that others can't that exist among us, or is like a, sorry to say it, it's like a Lovecraft story where the story called From Beyond, where like there's a machine that basically fucks with your pineal gland, and you're able to see an alternative like universe that's like overlapping ours, and it's like all the monsters that exist around us that we can't see. And that's a fun idea for the idea of like aliens or something, or like the idea that like some of the aliens that people have seen are people that are able to see through that veil, see through that threshold into things that are just always existing around us is kind of a fun concept.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting to play with the unseen. It's very They Live, you know.
Yeah.
Just the idea that there's like another dimension that's kind of overlaid on top of ours we normally don't interact with. I like the idea that I always like the idea that rather than like extraterrestrial beings, it's extra dimensional beings. So it's like they're around us, but they just exist beyond our 3-dimensional reality. So because of that, they operate. It's like us trying to comprehend a 2 or 1-dimensional being. It's just something that's so different from us. It would be hard to understand, and vice versa. So I think the idea of like extra dimensional beings are very interesting.
It's kind of a fun route too when they get rid of like the concept of like the UFO style alien, where it's like they had to fly here and then they like, you know, made some kind of contact via like spaceship. Instead, it's something that's just always been around, but we perceive it as like something that's from the stars. Is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I really like this on the second part here. It's fun. It says, I solved the Fermi paradox and regret it. But now in the title it says, we regret to inform you that you're being hunted. Pretty fun. Part 2.
Well, that's pretty cool. And also, like, I know it's like kind of a trope and people do it all the time, but I love when stories are like, look at the corner of your eyes. Look in your mirror. Do you see something? Because that plays on like the natural fears we've all had. You know, of thinking we see something moving behind us and stuff like that.
Like a very almost like fucking primal, almost like an evolutionary way of like scaring someone or whatever.
Yeah.
You know the thing you saw in your corner? It's there. It's real, and it's a fucking demon.
It's real. It's going to get you. It will kill you.
You're going to die. Awesome.
You should run right now. Yeah.
Part 2.
That was a really good start. I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah. So part 2. Someone is following me whenever I leave my apartment. My new eyes are good at picking up little details, seeing the same car driving around my block each day, slowly. Also at my heels, but a few cars back. If you missed my first warning, you can find it here. I've noticed other things watching me as well. Faces in reflections, massive figures in the clouds. Some days I'll be riding the bus and notice a face on the street where the features are all in the wrong order. I don't go at night anymore at all. Some of you asked questions after my last update. I'll do my best to answer. If you're wondering why I mentioned the Fermi paradox, the truth is I was just passing on a theory from a friend. There's a whole group of us online, former lab rats for Kansas with shiny new eyes and fresh nightmares. I don't know any of their real names, only their handles. Ribbon and Violent, Calico and Cheshire, Dublin and Borrow and Matilda. There are others, but those are the 7 I speak to the most, nearly every day. We share updates on what we see, support each other after sleepless nights, and more than anything, we theorize. If you're wondering what my name is, you'll have to keep wondering. You can call me Waltz if that helps. Cheshire's the one who brought up the Fermi paradox. They're convinced that the horrors we're able to see are disguised aliens from a galaxy or 2 over, and that our artificial eyes can somehow see past their camouflage. Matilda has a different theory. The creatures we're observing are from another dimension, one that's bleeding over into ours.
My question is,
Borrow posted to our chat one rainy afternoon.
Are the entities hostile, friendly, or ambivalent?
I was nursing a hangover that day, most days actually, ever since the operation. Rain drizzled against my bedroom window. It had been 3 months and my life was in limbo. The quit my job, too afraid of what I might see if I looked too closely at my co-workers. Kansas provided me with a stipend for my service that was enough to live on, but quickly running out. Barrow's question banged around my head like a bat trapped in the attic. Before I could reply, I saw that Violet was typing.
They sure look hostile.
A few days before, I'd gone out for groceries. I was nearly at the checkout when I noticed an old woman standing in produce. Her face was gushing blood from her eyes, nose, mouth, maybe even the pores on her skin. I stood, paralyzed, just staring. She noticed me. The thing began making cooing noises like it was trying to entice me to come over. I dropped my groceries and sprinted out of the store. They sure look hostile, but do we know for sure? I wondered. Something knocked on my door. There was a pause, and scratching. I tried to ignore it. Now that I could see the creatures, there was a connection. I heard them all the time, little laughs or sighs. I felt them too on a few occasions. One that appeared to be made entirely from fog and teeth had even taken a nibble out of my shoulder. I'd call that a little hostile though. Maybe it was only hungry. Or curious. Scratching on my door turned into pounding, followed by silence. Matilda was typing.
I think they might be like us. Some are good, some are bad, some are ugly.
Dublin added. Cheshire, who communicated entirely in emojis, added a laughing face to the chat. There was the usual chorus of LOL and pop culture gifs, so immediately they have to kill Cheshire.
The smoker has dull teeth.
Ribbon posted.
But a razor tongue. Are you okay?
Calico wrote.
Not at all. I saw the girl in the mirror. Or was the mirror in the girl? What? Ribbon? Are you steady, friend?
Barrow asked. Yeah, Ribbon's doing great.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, what's that thing where I saw the girl in the mirror or the mirror and the girl. I'm trying to think about like visual. Well, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
I think it's funny how Ribbon's like, it's a board to talk about the weird hallucinations of other dimensions you see. And then a girl's like, this one has a razor tongue and there's a mirror girl. And then Barrow's like, whoa. Hold on. That's not a mirror on a girl. Whoa. We did that with each other a lot. Are you steady? Which was the polite way of asking if the little hairline fractures we all felt to our sanity were beginning to crack. Ribbon was typing again.
They told me you're next after me, Waltz. Ooh.
Well, you know, maybe it's a little too harsh on Ribbon. maybe we could.
Well, I do like that idea of. I do like this idea of like a group of people basically. From an outside looking in, would look like a bunch of like almost psychopathic people talking about like the insanely weird shit that you would never see, right? Or even saying stuff like, "Oh, was it the girl in the mirror or the mirror and the girl, whatever?" But then I like the idea though of checking in and being like, has this person completely snapped? And I hope that we get to see that though, to see like, do they try to help, or is it just a thing where it's excommunication and you just like have to sever that tie?
No, I think they just kill him. If I had to guess, because considering they can touch him,
they're all in the same? Are they all in the same town? Have we established that? Or because it says they're typing, but
they all went to the same place.
They all had the same procedure.
Get this procedure,
okay.
But they're talking online. They're talking in like a chat.
Right. Well, that's what I'm wondering though. I just didn't know if the procedure happened in the redacted Kansas place, whatever, or if it's like, oh, I had the same thing, but I live in a different area. But I assume that they were all just got it from the same spot.
I reckon, yeah. I felt my stomach drop through the floor. My apartment was boiling, but I still began to shiver. Ribbon has left the chat. The others spent 10 minutes trying to convince me everything was fine, that Ribbon was only worked up. I lied and told them I wasn't worried.
You're okay, Waltz.
Matilda sent me in a private chat.
Stay steady and contact me anytime if you need to talk. Thank you.
I signed off and closed my laptop. Outside, the rain was picking up, tapping at my window like a guest, asking to come in. My television was humming quietly on the wall. I glanced up and saw that it was a rerun of a show I'd watched a dozen times. Only now, I saw that the comic relief character had a second mouth on their throat, their head flopping up and down every time they told a joke. That was the closest I came to ripping my new eyes from their sockets. My fingers stopped when I pushed down my eyelid.
Fuck.
With nothing else to do, I turned off the television, got in the shower, and didn't leave my apartment for the next week. One new message. I will say it's just funny to imagine that like Andy Griffith is on the TV and he sees Don Knotts with a neck and he's like, "That's it, I'm going blind."
Are you digging this so far?
I'm in a. It doesn't have me yet, but it has. I still feel like I'm in the build up phase.
This year I'm focusing on limits, how much I'm spending, how many things I'm working on, and definitely how many streaming subscriptions I need. Yarg! And that's where our sponsor Rocket Money comes in. The unfortunate truth is that it's easy to spend money, yarg, but finding unnecessary costs might not be. Yarg! Running a business or controlling your personal finances takes planning and budgeting. Yarg! And with so much going on, it can be easy to overlook things. Yarg! Well, today's sponsor Rocket Money is here to help. Show RM logo here. Rocket Money is an easy-to-use app that helps you save more and manage your money better. I love using Rocket Money to set budgets, and with Rocket Money, you can create a customized budget in seconds. Yarg! The app keeps track of your money at all times, letting it be the guiding when it comes to the spending. Yarg! The app identifies your top spending categories with important insights on how to budget better. Yarg! That's not all. Hollywood a cracker? Rocket Money also helps you automate your savings. We all need to save money, so why not let someone else do it for you? It automatically analyzes your accounts to determine the optimal time to save so you can reach your goals faster. Yarg! I use Rocket Money to help guide me in hitting my savings goal for the year, and I plan to use it again this year to hit a new goal this year. This year. The script wants you to know it's this year. Whether you're planning on buying a house, going back to school, or just planning for the future, Rocket Money has got you covered. Take control of your finances today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Creepcast to get started for free. You can also scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Unlock even more features when you sign up for premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Creepcast or click the link in the description to get started for free. Text overlay, try for free, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much to Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. Back to the episode.
This episode is sponsored by Tushy. If your idea of clean is dragging dry paper across your backside after a long day, I've got bad news for you. Tushy helps bring maximum comfort to your bathroom trips and ensures it's a pleasant experience every time. Yeah, I like to spray water at my butthole because it makes it clean. Tushy's e-bidets instantly modernize your daily routine, making it cleaner and healthier. I love using Tushy because it gives you 2-in-1 benefits by reducing irritation, preventing micro tears while using less toilet paper. And 99% of people who wash with Tushy warm water bidets feel cleaner and fresher going to the bathroom. The bathroom is a disgusting place, but you can make it a bit better adding an e-bidet. Everyone that comes to the studio and uses our bathroom realizes that they are missing out. People who make the switch to Tushy use up to 80% less TP, and less toilet paper means less clogged toilets and less gross bathroom experiences. The other thing I really like about Tushy is that it's really easy to use. You can sit, cleanse, and dry using the built-in air dryer. Tushy bidets go on easy in 10 minutes or less over your existing toilet. No power tools needed. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and 12-month warranty. Give your routine the freshest start for a limited time. Our listeners get 10% off the first bidet order when you use code Creepcast at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at HelloTushy.com with promo code Creepcast. Thank you to Tushy for sponsoring this episode. Now back to the episode.
I was laying on the couch wearing the same flannel pajamas I'd lived in for the last 2 days when I got the notification on my phone. My apartment, never in danger of being confused with a palace, was an absolute disaster of pizza boxes and empty six-packs. I'd set makeshift alarms on my doors and windows by stringing together some of the loudest looking bottles. The alert was an email from Cheshire. It wasn't the first they'd sent me, but it always made me anxious. I'd asked them before where they found my email address but didn't get a response. Usually, Cheshire would send me odd pictures. A house, a hospital, a tree surrounded by glowing lights. This message was different. For the first time, Cheshire used words.
Are you there, Waltz? I need your help. They found me. Can you call me? Can you call me as soon as you can? ASAP. Don't use your own phone.
The email ended in a phone number. I stared at the screen for a long time. It was blinding bright in my dark living room. The shutters were closed and my sense of time was becoming flexible, but I knew it had to be sometime after midnight. For a moment, I considered deleting the email, closing my laptop, and hurling it out the window. I didn't want to get involved, but Cheshire sounded desperate, and at the end of the day, our weird little group was the nearest thing to family I had left. Bunch of lab rats with machine eyes who could see monsters. Maybe we were friends. We were something, even if we were only online. Don't use your own phone. There was a gas station down the block that had one of the last remaining payphones in Baltimore. Possibly the world. Realistically, I'm sure there were others, but that was the only one I knew about, and it was only a block away at night. Every fiber in my shaky soul wanted to wait until dawn, but Cheshire said they needed my help immediately. A tiny slice of my deepest lizard brain uncoiled for a moment. What if it's a trap?
That's paranoid.
I said out loud, standing up to hunt for some almost clean street clothes. Cheshire was a friend, kinda, and besides, other than the biting fog and a tall shadow that had slapped me, none of the creatures so far had actually been trying to hurt me. Maybe they weren't hostile. Slammed a Red Bull for my Uber Eats delivery before opening the front door. The hallway outside was dim, no signs of motion or life at all. I made my way to the elevator, hesitated, then took the stairs down to the street instead. Baltimore slept, but restless. The city never turned all the way off. There were always lights, traffic, trash. It wasn't pretty, not all the time, but after spending so many years in the dark after I got sick, being able to see the beautiful mess again never failed to give me goosebumps. I drank in the skyline, tried to memorize the rhythm of tall buildings pressing shadows into the cloudy night.
Okay.
I said, breathing in air and smog.
Okay.
Every streetlight shadow made me skittish. Every distant horn hawk made me jump. But I made progress. Sneakers chewing up the sidewalk, bringing me closer to the gas station, to a phone, to a friend.
Can you spare a light?
I very nearly shit my pants. I did yelp and spin to find a man leaning against a nearby wall just outside of the yellow haze of a streetlight. His face was covered by a cloud of smoke. There was ash in his voice, the rasp of a lifelong smoker, probably something heavy like Cowboy Killers.
I don't smoke. Pity.
The man croaked, stepping into the light. When he did, his limbs and neck stretched and became wire thin. His body warped and split and bubbled, then collapsed in on itself as he walked out of the glow of the lamp. Now he was close. He smelled like cigarettes and cordite. I couldn't see his face, only the cloud of smoke. It moved with him like a veil.
Those eyes don't belong to you. Gimme.
I ran. Other figures began to emerge from the shadows. I stayed in the lights as much as I could, dashing from street lamp to street lamp. A massive figure with a bloated body and lots of thin legs ran up the side of a skyscraper. I passed by a store window and saw a woman's face, pretty and furious, reflected back at me. Her eyes were shining and I realized that they were mirrors catching and amplifying the light. She screamed and the glass shattered, but I was already halfway down the block. I made it into my apartment at a dead sprint. Once I was behind a locked door, I slid to the floor, shaking. The adrenaline dump made me nauseous. I threw up what was left of the pizza and gin in my system. Dawn was burning behind the window shutters before I pulled myself together. One new message. I left my phone on the table when I had set out for the gas station. Another alert was visible on screen. Numb, moving like a zombie. I opened my laptop to see a new email from Cheshire. We regret to inform you that you're being hunted. The sentence was punctuated by a winking face emoji. End of part 2.
End of part 2. So real quick too, just to make sure I'm on the same page. So he's in Baltimore. He's doing all this stuff. The outside world is
which is believable as the edge of the universe, by the way.
Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah.
There's still normal human beings though in the city. It's just just the ones that they can tell that they can see them, right? Almost like the guy
they can
asking,
just see.
Almost like the guy asking for a light, whatever, and him responding was an indicator to be like, "Oh, you can see me." And then he's like, I wonder if that's also why he's like, "Those eyes aren't yours." Like he's like, "How the fuck are you able to see me?"
Yeah.
If that was a test or something. It also seems like, do you think that the email he got was just to lure him out of the apartment so he could get hunted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think his friend was actually at the phone because he gets back and that's where the email's like, "We regret to inform you you're
With the
being
emoji.
hunted."
Right.
Yeah. So they've killed at least those two, right? The first one and then Cheshire.
Well, I was wondering there for a second if, like, in the group of friends of the 7 people, if any of them were like plants by the people who implemented the eyes, you know, like somebody who is like almost like they're an experiment or something. Because the way that the story is reading, it almost reads a little bit like the moon is on fire. A bit where it's just these obvious things that are out there, and they're like, it's just someone feeling almost like they're going through psychosis, where it's like, am I fucking crazy? Can no one else see this? You know? So
and there's like a conspiracy afoot that they're being tracked down because of. Like, maybe it'll turn out the entities are actually fine. It's just the people who like can't have us knowing about the entities that are the threat. They're doing the hunting or something.
Right.
Or it could not. I could stick with like, and I really like a lot of the descriptions of these multi-dimensional beings, how it looks like they keep moving, like their shape changes and stuff like that.
The wire thin
it's our brain
neck
trying to
was
comprehend something beyond us. That's pretty cool.
The wire thin neck was a lot of fun. I also really, I'm always a sucker too. What was the name of the story, Isaiah, where it's the people at the party and then like they have to hide in the apartment and they hear the person like coming in or like grabbing people? Was that an alien story too that we read? Was that alien or was that just monsters?
They're in a party.
It's like friends at their apartment, and they're like, "Oh fuck!" They like see something, I think, across the way in someone else's apartment, and then they have to like one person has to hide in the closet, someone hides under the bed, whatever, and they hear like knocking or like the door breaks open, and they have to like basically hide. Do you remember that?
I don't think we did that story.
No. Well, I'm almost positive it was something, but anyways, it reminds me of that idea though of like there's something just super creepy obviously about like you're in your house and someone's like knocking on someone is like right outside, or they know that you're in there but they aren't like actively, like something is stopping them from just like barging in. It's almost like that anticipation is always so much more creepy. I just like that with the guy. At first it was tapping and then all of a sudden he's just like really loud fucking banging. Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Part 3.
I really thought you were going to say when you were talking about something a minute ago about monsters or demons, and I thought you were going to bring it back around to the loving relationship of the cowboy and his eldritch abomination.
No. Unfortunately, I feel like that time has passed.
That's big of you. That's actually like rare for you to do that. So I know that takes a lot of restraint, and I respect that.
Thank you.
Part 3. I was trapped in my apartment. Every night it was the same. Knocking and tapping and screaming and a silence that was too absolute to ever naturally exist in a city. Some evenings I'd find smoke leaking into my living room from under the front door. There was never any fire I could see. I had to cover all of my mirrors since the faces were starting to come in a little too clear. If you missed my first warning, you can find it here. After that, things got uncomfortable.
Is anyone there?
I typed, cowering in my empty bathtub with my laptop. It was nearly a week after my failed excursion to the gas station. A week since Cheshire's warning or threat that I was being hunted. Each day since, one of the members of our group chat, which I started thinking of as the Blindsight Blues, had gone offline and not returned. First went Ribbon, then Borrow, followed by Dublin, Violet, and finally, Calico. Now only Matilda, Cheshire, and I remained.
Smiley face.
D. Smile. Can you do that smile for the camera?
There you go.
Thank you. I'm just going to assume you did it. I was kind of worried initially when it's like 7 characters introduced at once. I was like, man, that's a lot to keep up with. But now 5 of them are dead, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, man, between one part, 5 people just like missing is pretty brutal. This could have been a thing too, where if this was like a longer story or like an actual novel or something, I'm guessing that we'd probably go through each one of those people or like establish who they, all that stuff. But would have been cool, but maybe it still wraps up in a fun way.
I mean, you could have like a left-right game with a bunch of characters, but that's also a very different kind of story. You know, that's more like an Odyssey, and there's time to spend with everyone.
Also, they're in person and you can interact with them. This whole thing with private messages and stuff makes it very informal.
I hope you know, every time I think of the left-right game, I think about all of them standing there, and I think of Apollo Creed from Rocky with the gloves and shorts on, like amongst them for some reason.
Yeah, every time I hear Apollo, same.
Yeah. That's a testament to how good the story is, because you remember Apollo.
Yeah, I know. My memory is terrible. Yeah,
well, that's what I mean. You love forgetting characters and like stuff. You remember Apollo. I'm sure you remember Bristol and Blue Jay and all that.
Yeah, Blue Jay's the worst.
So, man, I just really love Left Right Game. Anyway. Cheshire's reply was not helpful. Tilda's response came 10 minutes later as a private message.
I know you're in Baltimore. Can we meet?
Something was scratching at the tub's drain. I leaned over, then scrambled out of the bath when I saw a blue eye with a dozen irises looking up through the hole. If my bathroom was breached, I didn't have any good options left. I decided I might as well die comfortably, so I curled up in bed with a soft blanket and a mug full of dark rum.
How do you know where I am?
I rolled back, anxious but almost comforted. If she was a friend, then I had someone in my corner. And if she wasn't, at least maybe the nightmare would be over quickly.
Your IP address. You should really invest in a VPN. Is that some kind of cable news network? Tilda, are you still there? Yeah, sorry. I wrote something sarcastic and decided to delete it. Can we meet? I'm in town.
A little chill kick stepped its way across my neck. I thought for a moment and then sent Matilda the name of a restaurant and a time to meet in the morning. Friend or enemy, I'd face her soon. But I'd have to make it through the night first. I closed my laptop and prepared to start my new sundown ritual. There are some amazing resources online offering advice for protecting a residence from otherworldly incursion. Step 1 was salt. I visited each door and window in my apartment, adding a thin line of salt on the ground to block the entrance. I even salted all of my closet doors just in case. Next came sage and incense. Holy water splashed on the windows. Dream catchers and crosses added to the walls. You can find almost anything in Baltimore if you know where to look. Turns out, there were 2 mysticism supply stores and 1 apothecary, all within a short daylight sprint from where I lived. Feeling about as protected as a pinwheel farm in a hurricane, I retreated to my bedroom to drink myself to sleep. For the last 2 days, I've been crippled by migraines, an issue I never had before my new eyes. Not long after the headaches began, I also started to notice strange patches of dry skin on my arms and legs. More than just dry, the spots were hard to the touch, cold. They were somewhere between metallic and crystalline. At one point, I'd thrown up a handful of teeth, but found none missing from my mouth after a frantic check. Something was changing in me. Without any mirrors to check, I couldn't be sure, but even my face felt different, sharper, younger. The night before I met Matilda was the worst I experienced. A vicious odor crept in around 10 p.m., a mix of cinnamon and dust and the porta-potty section of a summer music festival. My bed began to rock gently around midnight, then not so gently. After less than a minute, it stopped. I pulled myself out of the fetal position. Cracks formed in the ceiling above my bed, opening and closing like gills. Wind blew down from the openings, hot, bitter, followed by a horrible tugging sensation as the air was sucked upwards. The holes narrowed and split into a network of woven red lines. I saw faces in the lines, including my own frightened one, reflected back at me by a pair of mirrored eyes. I jammed my lids shut.
Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Look!
Voice shouted in my ear, their mouths so close I could feel their cold breath on my cheek. I didn't open my eyes. Eventually, I might have slept. It's murky. The next sensation I was aware of was a sound coming from outside my window. Something was whistling? I finally opened my eyes to stare at the spot where the noise was coming from. My bedroom was back to normal. The window was covered by both blinds and a drawn curtain. The whistling was pleasant, friendly, some tune I didn't recognize. I felt an overwhelming curiosity to find out who was making the sound. My hand was already on the curtain before I snapped out of my trance and stopped. For a few minutes, I stood by the window, unable to pull myself away. It wasn't long before the whistling grew fainter, the whistler moving on their way. Once the night was quiet again, well, as quiet as Baltimore ever got, I collapsed on the floor. I was breathing like I'd been practicing wind sprints in the stairwell. Somehow I managed to drag myself over to the corner of my room farthest from the window. Then I passed out. So, your opinion, Hunter, that part about the whistler walking by his window is definitely a reference to his, something walks whistling past my window story, right? How do you feel? Because I'm kind of split on it. This one's fine. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat for the author to be like, oh, well, this thing from my other story could be one of these unseen things, that just crosses over sometimes. So now it would make sense for it to be in this world. How do you feel about that in general when authors will use a previous work and tie it into whatever they're doing now like that?
I mean, I don't think it's super egregious. It's not as bad as like in a movie when something's like, I don't know. They're like, what's the address? 1414 John Carpenter Drive or whatever. That kind of thing, I think is a little more. I mean, otherwise it's because if you had never read the other story, it doesn't feel invasive to me at all. I mean, we've read the story, so it does feel like, oh, there's the tip of the cap. But I don't think it's anything. I don't think, especially with the amount of like other weird shit going on, it doesn't feel like it's too out of left field,
I think the way you phrased it is a good rule of thumb. Like if you didn't know the Whistler story, that's just another weird interaction. It doesn't do anything. So the story doesn't stop to tell it.
But I could see it, it's like fan service without it ruining everything. Like if the entire thing was that, I'd be like, it would feel a little self-indulgent. But to me, it's like, I mean, if you're a fan of this writer, which we are, we can catch it and just be like, oh, that, that's cool. I don't think I don't know if it's the same entity. I think it's just supposed to be like, it's something that is resembling of that you can be like, oh.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the same entity, but the mechanics are the same where it's like there's a curtain. He almost looks, but he decides not to look. So it doesn't come in, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I think I think I would agree that, it doesn't halt the story to tell it, and it's kind of cool. Now there have been stories we've read in the past where they've done that and it hasn't been cool. Like, what was the story? The one where it just became 20 minutes at the end where they're walking through vignettes from other stories.
Oh, yeah.
That was my job's watching a woman trapped in a room. Yeah. How the whole ending of that was like 14 different stories that we hadn't read, all compressing at the same time. That's a story stopping to tell.
I always wonder if I always wonder if that was our fault though, for not knowing that it's
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The audience has tried to gaslight me on this for so long. No, it wasn't my fault. Because if I have to know 16 stories before I can read this story that's labeled My Job's Watching a Woman Trapped in a Room, then label it part 17. Or do something to indicate that this is part of a greater work. The ending won't make sense unless I've read other work. And I understand, like, that author, he's written some cool stuff, and I really liked. I wrote a letter to myself, which I could be getting those way off, and if I am, editor, beat me for it. But like, there are like. It's not that they're a bad writer. There's a lot of good stuff, but like that interconnected web of stories they have is so complex that it's like I'm not. Like, like I want to read the stuff and I want to engage with it, but I don't want to commit to another Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was so far with this story.
Which also to clarify, it's a free country. Write whatever you want, do whatever you want. If you and your audience like it, have fun. I'm just not going to enjoy it. Is my point. But go ahead.
The now that we're just at a stopping point here, even with just talking about kind of where we're at. This story so far, I think it's fun. I think the only thing that is, I keep finding these parallels, at least so far while I'm reading this, where I'm listening and it's the kind of randomness that we have had in other stories, where there's a lot of like very heavy character stories, like Tales from the Gas Station, or I Work at a Voodoo Shop, or Lucille's snack store, whatever the fuck that was called. I think like there's this thing where there's a vignette of like weird things, right? Like we're kind of like right now, I don't really know who this main character is. And I like that's like been the biggest thing so far in the story. And this could turn around. We're only halfway through. But if I had to just, you know, air out some stuff now that we have some time, is like I don't. This whole idea of like, then something was in the drain looking at me. There was a giant beetle that walked across the skyscraper. There was a thin wiry thing that went through the you know, whatever. There was a man who walked past my window. It's like these are interesting, creepy vignettes, but none of it so far is really serving anything that's like latching me or kind of making me freaked out. It's happening so frequently too that nothing feels like a threat, or nothing feels like nothing feels like it's standing out, because it's so heightened. Everything's so heightened versus something like Tales from the Gas Station. You're so focused on that main character and kind of the vignettes of what happens each night that makes them feel a little more special, or like it makes these like little, there is a collection of like odd things, but you have that central character to kind of ground you, the same way with like I work at a emergency watchtower or a radio broadcast station or whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm down to have all these kind of weird vignettes, but I wish I knew the character more to understand like how they're feeling, what are they going through. I know that our character is like freaked out and he's like, oh, these eyes, but that's about it. And I'm hoping that kind of, so far, that's just where I'm standing at, and I'm hoping that kind of opens up a bit more. It's just give me a bit more with the character, and give me a bit more with you know, more of these threats are like, just let me in a bit more besides just describing, you know, creepy stuff that's happening that doesn't really go anywhere, or it's just kind of him being like, oh, and then running off.
Yeah, I think it needs to do more with it. I'm willing to accept we're still in the build-up phase, which I will say has been going on for a bit.
I'm just saying this is where I'm at right now with my thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If it was to just
whatever.
keep that momentum, I would totally agree. But I feel like with him wanting to meet the girl and stuff, we're going to get to some more meat on the bones. I would hope soon. Yeah.
I was just a little nervous once it's like we skipped from part 2 to part 3, and then 5 people died, or 5 people have now exited the chat. That doesn't mean that they're not going to come back. I mean, who knows, right? But I just that
for
was,
me, honestly, that was kind of relieving, because I needed the board cleared. Because I'm like, there's no way with this story structure I'm going to care about 7 people, right?
Right.
But now it's like, actually, just 2. Everyone else died. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, that makes it easier, you know? But we'll see. Mid-morning light filtered in yellow and haze through my closed blinds, waking me. Cavalry had arrived. I was safe. A long night had left me cramped and sore. I stood, cracking my back, one hand against the wall as leverage. And I tried to twist the other direction. I found my hand stuck to the drywall. Not only stuck, but merged. It was hard to see where the wall began and my flesh ended. I struggled, ripping, pulling, trying to escape. I braced my foot against the wall to help, and that became trapped as well. Everywhere my skin made contact, I bled into the surface. It drew me in until I was fully submerged. Claustrophobia nearly fried my sanity. I was only held for a minute or less before becoming suddenly unstuck and falling back into my bedroom. Stopping only long enough to grab my phone, keys, laptop, and wallet, I left the apartment to wait for Matilda at the restaurant. I was still wearing my pajamas. At that point, I had 0 shits left to give.
Are you here yet?
I glanced around from my booth after reading Tilda's message. The diner was nearly empty, caught in the limbo between breakfast and lunch and not fancy enough for a brunch.
I'm in the back, the booth in the corner. I'm in the red flannel.
Before I'd finished typing, a small blonde woman darted into the seat across from me. She was wearing a denim jacket covered in patches and novelty buttons, as well as aviator sunglasses. I tried not to look at my reflection in their lenses.
I thought it was you. I just wanted to check before inviting myself over. Hello, Matilda. I'm Waltz. Well, my real name is... Don't! I don't need to know, and you're sure as hell not gonna learn mine. No offense, but you look like 10 pounds of horse shit somebody stuffed into a doggy bag. Some offense taken. It was a hard night. Sorry. Yeah, I know the feeling. Have you heard from any of the others recently? No, not recently. The last one before you was really Cheshire. It was a week ago, and there was some issues.
Tilda's lips closed in a hard line.
Cheshire is up to no goddamn good, Waltz. It's pretty good. What is? Matilda and Waltz. Waltz and Matilda. You don't get it? Is this like the VPN thing? Oh my god, bro. Please kill me. Get me
Must
out.
have been the wind. Must have been the wind. This must have been the wind.
Yeah.
Tilda only sighed and stole a sip of my coffee. We sat in silence for a minute while she chewed her lip. Suddenly, Tilda leaned close.
Don't freak out.
She said, pulling off her sunglasses. I freaked out.
Shh, chill.
Matilda said, glancing around with empty eye sockets to make sure no one had noticed my yelp.
Your eyes. Yeah. You don't have any. You're very observant.
All right, so I was actually fine with the "you're very observant" line until you read it in that donation.
You're very observant. There you go. I fixed it.
Yeah, you put some stink on that. I feel like it didn't deserve by giving it the quirky millennials ring at the end.
She has empty eye sockets, and it doesn't matter. It is the wind.
I focused on my breathing until I felt like a rabbit who just ate a burning cherry bomb. What? Is that an expression?
I don't know. What happened?
Tilda put her glasses back on.
I heard them out last week. Tried to get them back to whatever the thing was that wanted them. Oh, did it work? They took the eyes, but I can still see the creatures. I can still see everything. I think the eyes are like a seed? Does that make sense? They planted those fucking eyes into our skulls and something took root. Other parts of me are changing. I mean, last night, I started floating for nearly 10 seconds. Have you noticed any? Yeah. That bad, huh?
I drained the rest of my coffee.
I'd rather not talk about it. Whatever's happening, I think you and I are the only ones left. Cheshire is sending me cryptic emails, pictures, and weird shit, and all of the others have gone dark. I've got somewhere we can go, and I've got a plan, but I'm scared shitless to try it on my own. Are you with me?
I looked out the window. There was a wasp nest the size of a Ford Fiesta dangling from a stoplight across the street. The nest was pink and wet. The insects that floated out from the hive were covered in hundreds of wings. The wasps were each as big as a seagull.
Sure,
I told Matilda.
I guess I'm in. Isaiah?
I know, Hunter. I know, I'm here too. I'm here too. I can see the story. I can see the same story. I'm here. Yeah.
We are floating dangerously close to something that you know.
I know.
You know what's weird so far? So also this is part 4 of 6, okay, that we're on right now. And I know people say, Hunter, oh God, they complain so much. Well, you know what, dude? It's our show, and I'm gonna have to say what's on my mind, which I'm not gonna dive in because we haven't finished the story. We don't know what happens, right? I'm gonna give it at least that respect. But I will say I was really stoked on the setup of like in the hospital and like recovering and seeing visions in the hospital and stuff. I thought we might linger there a bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean I don't know. I just this idea of the it's a lot of good stuff in this story.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
Careful.
I feel like
Careful.
we're in for it. There were some like, there was some wording choices and stuff like that previously that I kept thinking to myself, like, in a lesser story, really because of the author, a lesser story, I would have like made a joke about it or whatever, but I'm like, I'm fine, I'll keep going. But then her walking in there, and it doesn't just say sunglasses, it says she's wearing aviators.
She's
wearing
wearing
a patch
aviators.
jacket.
She's wearing a denim
she's
jacket with buttons.
She's a cool alt girl that's just like you.
I just pictured the trope in a movie where it's like the girl in the movie that's like her dad's mechanic. So here, just give me it.
Yeah.
And she's the one who fixes the car. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, your carburetor is messed up. What's up? My name's Delaney. Is that kind of thing.
No, it's always one of those gender neutral names like Jesse or Taylor or something like that.
Yeah, my name's John.
Yeah, well, that's not John. I would call John a gender neutral name, but
They're all gender neutral. You can name whatever the fuck you want. Listen, we don't know. We're jumping ahead of ourselves. We're jumping ahead.
But I'm
Right.
just
No. Isaiah, listen. We're jumping ahead. Let's give it time. Here's the thing. We are seasoned. We've read a lot of stuff. I think we might be being a little presumptuous here, right? For the sake of the viewers, for the sake of ourselves. Well, maybe let's go in with the next one with an open mind.
Look, no, I'm not. I have a very closed mind.
No.
My mind's shut up. My mind's closed. You can come back at 9 a.m. for breakfast, and then there's going to be an hour break, and then it'll serve lunch, and then an hour and a half break, and then dinner at 4:30. But until then, my mind is closed. So.
Isaiah, let's go in with an open mind. How does that sound?
No, I don't. No, COVID killed open mind businesses. No, everyone switched to the typical.
No. Let's go with an open
5
mind.
cycle.
You know what? Actually, I really like this. So, part 4, I solved the Fermi paradox, and I regret it. And this one, it's machine hearts and electric eyes. Huh?
Oh, gosh.
Do you like that?
Tell me that's not the title of it.
Would not believe
the
your
title of it.
eyes. Machine hearts and electric eyes. They make me want to have gay sex.
There it is, all the way around.
I'm in a cornfield in the state of Kansas, and I plan on kissing a monster. He's 12 feet tall and speaks a different language. And I'd rather unearth a monolith and have sex with a monster. Right?
In my dreams.
In my dreams, we're coming slowly. Actually, we should get someone write that story. A farmer who's married, wife and kids,
And
unearths a monolith. He's like, what the hell is it? And
hold on, I didn't know that detail. So the farmer had a family that he abandoned for the monster. That kind of creates a complicated character dynamic.
That's a new development. I still I do like the wholesome Chungus version where it's just a guy being like, hello there.
Personally, I like the idyllic life.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like the perfect life of this farmer and this monster. But it does make for a more interesting kind of like Brokeback Mountain kind of conflict of a man who is like has a family and then he has to like basically, but he has a true love, you know. You can't fight love, Isaiah, and that's what he has for this eldritch creature. Mm-hmm. And if anything, too, what could happen is he's like, oh, and it could be a really scary first interaction that he has with this monster, right? What the?
Yeah.
Who the hell are you? Whatever. And then he sits there, and then the monster like grabs his head, and he's able to speak to the monster after that. Like he sits there, and then he starts seeing some weird shit too. But then the first time he interacts with the monster, it's like whatever, all that stuff. And then the next time he's like, so you came back to me. I can understand you. Well, you know, it's like and now they're able to communicate with each other.
I see. That's good plot development. I think I don't know. I think maybe the farmer had a family, then left it, because I don't want the idea to be that, like, you know, our monster's a home wrecker or anything.
No, he has to be. But that's the thing though, Isaiah, is that you can't fight love, right? The thing about this farmer was living a fake life before that. There's a whole thing. And I think that there's going to be a spot where, yes, the wife, the children upset, you know, that maybe even the kids are like, you ruined my fucking life. But then in years come, they're just like he can gain their respect back. He gives the family the respect they deserve because he's not living a fake life anymore. And I'd like to make myself believe machine hearts turn slowly.
Yeah, all right. So the story title. I'm just telling you, man, after the I guess I'm in thing, it's like, all right, you better
No, Isaiah,
you better stand up straight and act right in this next part.
We have got to go in with open eye. People, our viewers are going to be livid. Where this is a horror story.
I'm livid. Do you know how much it drives me up a wall in these stories when they make them quirky? When it's like, oh, here's a cool horror concept or something, and then they'll drag in a character.
Isaiah.
Shut up! I've never been quirky once. There's never been an instance of me in my professional career where you could ever describe me as quirky. It is. I've been aloof and potentially even whimsical, but never quirky. So
whimsical. Fuck you, dude. God, fuck off. I've been whimsical.
I think there's a stage early in my career where the adjective of whimsical would certainly apply, but
whimsical,
never quirky.
You know what?
But I can't. You know why? Because whimsy can add to a story, but quirkiness debases a story. That's the difference.
Isaiah,
That's the difference.
Oh, you're being too harsh.
Look, I am because I cannot tell you how many times we've been doing one of these episodes. And I'll be really into it, and I'll be excited and going, and then
Monster Hunter,
is a character. Yeah. In Waltz is a character who's like they wear a bow tie, or they have like suspenders, or there's some
I'm gonna still keep it up with mine. All right, Machine Hearts and Electric Eyes. I'm very excited. You let me speak.
Shut up.
Machine Hearts and Electric Eyes. I'm telling you that right now. I will say there was an arrow that went through my body as soon as the word aviator sunglasses was typed out, because I was like, oh god, it's just the specificity of like, yeah, they're aviators.
Yeah, just say sunglasses. Just say yeah, exactly. That's because that's how it was meant. And like for me, it was like a shotgun rack and then the shot, because the shotgun rack was a denim jacket with patches. And I'm
also,
like, how's he mean
right?
that?
She's blind.
But she can still see because the thing has seeds, which is like part of the story or whatever.
Okay, so
it's like a seed.
Okay. So that I just want to make sure, because at first I thought it was
she can see because the eyes have granted her the ability.
It was the
see.
seed. It rooted. I understand. I remember that part. But I'm just saying that I didn't know if it was a thing where it's like she's blind, but she still sees like visions or those creatures, but she can't see. But I mean, it doesn't make sense because she like moved over. But yeah, no. So she's
it's like Daredevil from Marvel. He can effectively see.
Yeah.
No, for me, the shotgun rack was denim jacket with patches, and then the blast was the aviator mention.
You know what? Part four. Let the story win you back.
And you know what? Hold on. I'll give it this, right? Tales from a Lonely Broadcast Station.
Right.
There was a point in that story where I forget his name. That character showed up, and he was literally wearing suspenders and a bow tie.
And I was like, assistant or whatever, right?
The assistant, yeah. And I was like, here it goes. Here
and
it's happening.
We ended up liking that character a lot. He was awesome.
And it did not overstay its welcome. Like he said a couple kind of like funny things or like kind of cringe things or whatever.
To be fair.
And the rest of the story did not suffer for it. The world and the setting stayed creepy, stayed consistent, and he was fine.
To be fair,
maybe this story will do the same.
Tales from a Lonely Broadcast Station also had a more tongue-in-cheek approach from the get-go.
Yes.
I think this one was set up in a cool kind of, you're like, okay, where's this going? And then it's the quirky chungus stuff only hurts when you're halfway through, and then it just whips you in the fucking back.
It just shows up. Just shows up. Yeah.
But you never know. Keep my eyes open. Keep my heart and my soul open. Right? Machine Hearts and Electric Eyes. It's gonna be the name of my my memoir. Go ahead. Part 4.
MHEE is the initials for Machine Hearts and Electric Eyes would be Mother Horse Eyes. MHE. And that just makes me remember how much I miss Mother Horse Eyes.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's Mother Horse Eyes. It's two different. MHEE. It's 2 E's.
I'm just saying it made me think of Mother Horse Eyes, and I miss it. That's all I'm saying.
All right. You don't want the entity in Mother Horse Eyes to show up in a denim jacket with buttons and an aviator sunglasses?
Gosh, could you imagine?
That'd be awesome. That'd be fucking sweet. Actually, now I'm on board. I'm fully on board. All right.
That would actually be imagine like you get to part 85 of Mother Horse Eyes and it's like Mother had cool aviator sunglasses and went, "Are you in?"
Yeah.
Like speaking through the cicadas. Like we've got to stop the queen. Because like then like the CIA people come out of the flesh interface and they're like, guess we're back in action. Like,
or no, Slim Shady starts playing. Guess who's back again.
as Charles Manson's coming out of a flesh interface.
I created a monster, but no one wants to see a monster. It's Slim Shady, top liver. What the fuck? Cancel Eminem? Yeah, right. I love this video so much. I heard Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem. Good luck with that one.
I could hear the smirk in your voice. I hated that. Part four.
Say the title.
I don't want to say this.
No, say the title.
Hunter, if you want me to interact with the story positively, I can't say the title.
Say the title. You have to. You say it every time. Part 4.
I solved the Fermi paradox and I regret it. Machine hearts and electric eyes.
Yeah! Like they get into the CSI thing, whatever. Whenever they do was it CSI Miami? They do the yeah, and it goes into the theme.
Yeah, it's CSI Miami. Matilda's plan involved an RV, a long drive, and possibly an assassination.
More likely a persuasive interrogation.
She assured me.
No, Isaiah. Come on, let's get, more likely a persuasive interrogation.
Stop! You put in the sass on it.
That's what that's just a regular read. More likely a persuasive interrogation.
She assured me.
Does that mean torture? That sounds like torture.
Matilda grinned.
It's only torture if Cheshire doesn't spill their guts.
There you go. There you go. I knew you had a landmine.
No.
That was you. You can't get onto me for my attitude and then pull one of those out.
I was holding a burp. That's why it sounded like that. Okay.
No.
Hit the first line again.
Matilda grinned.
It's only torture if Cheshire doesn't spill their guts. Because if they don't, then we spill their guts.
Oh my
Guess who's
God.
back again. Trying to cancel Eminem? Good luck with that. Shit,
Every time. Why? Does this do well?
we don't
people
know
enjoy
how
this?
It could be good. It could be good.
Is there an audience of people out there who's like, I like when I start reading.
Oh my
I
God.
start reading scary
Yes.
stuff,
Yeah.
but then it gets silly.
Oh, yeah. Yes, dude. Yes, 100%.
Who are they?
Who are
I don't
they?
think I've ever met one. Yeah, who are they?
I think they're the majority. I think I would say I would say that this is like I think that there'd be a lot of people. I think that we're skewed it too much being bad. There's a lot of people who'd be like, I was really enjoying it until they fucking derailed the story and made me want to like
I don't care.
drive my car.
I don't care. I thought you were talking about us.
No,
I thought
that's
you
what
were
I'm saying.
people want to draw off
We
their
are
car
doing
for
no,
bridge
no.
because of us.
We are
Okay,
doing that.
We're
We
the
are doing
ones driving the car. Yes, I am in fact driving my car for bridge. You are correct. Continue.
No. I'm saying that we as hosts are ruining the story. All right, and it is our job to give an unbiased approach to this story. We never give our opinions, Isaiah. That's what makes this podcast so good.
You're right. You had me up until that line.
Actually, hold on. Here, Isaiah, hold on. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
It's only torture if Cheshire doesn't spill their guts. Because if they don't, then we spill their guts.
We all know what makes this podcast so good is that it is simply an audiobook and we don't discuss how we feel or our opinions about anything related to horror storytelling. And the only reason people watch is for us to shut up and read the story.
So why don't we just shut up and read the story?
You can't find audiobooks of these things.
No.
Online.
No, God, no.
Anywhere. They don't exist. No one does readings of scary stories. That'd be absurd. You definitely come to this podcast for that because no one else is doing that, apparently. So yeah, it would make sense to complain when the hosts of a comedy horror podcast talk about comedy or horror.
Because if they don't, we spill their guts. Trying to cancel Eminem, I see. Good luck with that.
Oh. You know, and it also like it just deflates all the stakes you've set up in a story because it's like I thought this was real. I thought this was a scenario that humans were going through and they were worried and scared. And it's like, would a human who has seen demons and now has to battle with the supernatural, the other and
You're
stuff,
looking at it the wrong way.
We'll spill their guts.
You're looking
like,
at it the wrong way.
You're
looking at it the wrong way because now you have to hope that the story ends the lives of these characters and it doesn't keep them alive. And that's what keeps me on board is that something's going to go on. Like, Matilda's dead and everyone's like,
we might kill him.
Or we like it once again. Part 4, Machine Hearts and Electric Eyes.
Machine Hearts.
Let's see what we can do here. How's that sound? Machine Heart and Electric Eyes.
Right. I'm not going to read that next sentence because that's just the whole Reddit thing of. Well, shit. They always put that in to just be like, here's links to the previous story.
This is an actual line though.
This was not how I pictured my life going when all this started, but at least now I wasn't alone in the mess. There, are you happy?
There you go.
I fixed my eyes on the road and made a mental note to never get on Matilda's path. I'm so mad right now. Because I was into it.
Okay, don't cancel Eminem in front of Matilda. Got it. Okay, Matilda is the real Slim Shady. She has stood up.
I made a note to never get on her bad side.
All right.
Look, like I said earlier with the whole connect 100 stories in one universe thing, if you like that, if you like stories like this, more power to you. I don't, so I'm going to act accordingly.
So then just read and just, you know what? Try to sit back and enjoy. How's that sound?
We were heading west on the interstate towards California, west towards Cheshire, and maybe some answers. All around us, spring was waking up. Trees caught between life and death. Cars zipped by us like fighter jets dodging a blimp. Matilda's RV was an aged, patched-up Winnebago with maroon strips on the side and a carpeted interior that might have been white once. The old machine rumbled when I pressed on the accelerator. The engine seemed to take the pedal's input as more of a suggestion than a command. We struggled to keep up with the highway speed limit. Matilda had her feet on the dash.
It's just her feet on the dash. It's fine.
Is it? No, because I know how it's saying it. I know how it's saying it, and like she's just a cool girl who doesn't live.
Oh, I'm sorry that there's a cool girl, Isaiah. I'm sorry, there's a cool girl in a story.
Down. Yeah. You know what? Make her goth and mean to me, and then maybe we'll talk. But until then, like, I'm not interested. Matilda had her feet on the dash, window down, a perennial cup of coffee in her hand. She kept her sunglasses on even after I promised her missing eyes didn't bother me.
Do you really think Cheshire is going to be that easy to find? We've got his IP address, and I'm a natural-born bloodhound, baby.
Hunter, I need something about the farmer and his monster quick.
Oh, I didn't know I could bend like that.
All right, you didn't have to take it straight there. Because like the wholesome angle was really what was tying me to this narrative.
Is this why they call it a Chinese finger trap?
No. The reason I was playing with you on this one, passing the ball of yarn around, is because it was the one wholesome bit you've had in like months. So we were going to leave it there. And even then, your wholesome bit still involved gay intercourse. But you know what? I was fine with that. That was a peace treaty. But then as soon as I'm in a vulnerable position, you immediately make it into
Hey, Galatorth,
no.
hand me that roll of brawny paper towels. I need to wipe this up.
No, see, you ruined it. You ruined all that. You ruined everything. I came to you just then in confidence.
Yeah.
I came to you as a friend who needed something, and you rejected me.
We've got his IP address, and I'm a natural born bloodhound, baby.
Matilda held one small hand out of the window, running her fingers through the breeze.
I really can't believe both of you walnuts forgot to use a VPN or disguised your signal in any way. Walnuts. I can't.
I wanted you to know every single quip is like a gunshot to me.
Just a giant cloud of smoke, and you're just on the floor laying down. Sorry, I didn't realize I was living in an episode of Get Smart. What? How old is this person? Sorry, I didn't realize I was living in an episode of Get Smart. Get what? The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? I don't understand the words you're saying in the order you're saying them. Mission Impossible? Okay. That one I got.
Like, whatever, man. Yeah, why you're right. Why should anyone care about your story? Like, why? I don't care. It's monsters. Who cares, right? It's just quirky and funny. I don't care. Who would care? That's stupid to care. Why would anyone care about stories? That's dumb. Am I being too harsh?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes. There's gonna be a large minority of people.
I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. I really don't care what they say. What I care about is I feel like a dozen times I've been super invested in a story, and they're like, "What if we were like Batman? What if this was like a comic book story?
What if we were like Batman?
That'd be pretty.
You know
cool.
what? I think that you have to at least admit that people. I mean, like, even if it's not your cup of tea, this author, it's. I will say. So, because of
Maria on the Moon was not like this.
What we've read,
Something Walks Whistling Past My Window was not like this.
What we've read so far, this author probably was just like, I want to write like a comedy thing, or I want to write something that's like a little less serious, or like it has a little more. It has like a different character. Like he's writing a different character here, they are writing a different character here that's different. So at least there's versatility in what they're doing. You know, we know they can do this. It's just this is probably just what they were interested in writing. So we need to at least show respect in that way.
Okay, I'll do that. We drove all day, alternating who had the wheel every 2 hours. Whenever we needed a rest stop, we would pull over onto the shoulder. The RV had its own bathroom, kitchen, even a shower. Honestly, it was a pretty princely way to travel. Twice that day, Matilda signaled me to make an emergency stop. She'd sprint from the Winnebago into the trees and brush that lined the highway. Then I'd hear the sound of vomiting. Matilda told me she was fine, but she looked pale. Like me, she had strange dry patches of skin that shined like dull nickels. Her neck was also red on both sides of her throat. The sun was setting, washing the sky in a gradual shade of violet when we started looking for a place to park for the night. We passed a massive accident. A dozen cars wrapped around each other. Ambulances and fire trucks and cop cars swarmed, lighting up the evening with red and blue lights. One truck had crossed into the median and lay flipped over in the grass. There must have been a terrible fire because the vehicle was barely a shelly, blackened, warped. I saw paramedics lifting a covered stretcher into an ambulance. Standing over the entire scene was a shadow covered in stars, nearly as tall as the tree line. Entire galaxies rotated across the absolute darkness of the creature, constellations drifting like leaves on a pond. The entity turned in my direction and cocked its head. Curious, I felt a deep chill. There was this pull and...
Jesus, watch the road!
I snapped back and looked at the road. A horn honked. The RV had drifted over halfway into the next lane.
Sorry.
Said, correcting our course.
What the heck, dude? I thought I saw...
I stuck a glance back towards the accident fading in the rearview mirror. There was no star-filled shadow leaning over the wreckage anymore.
Never mind.
A few hours after sunset, we pulled into a rest stop. Matilda navigated the RV into an empty space in a gravel parking lot under one of the sparse light poles. There was a cluster of trees around us and a picnic table. Across the lot was a bathroom and some vending machines. We raided the latter for a quick dinner, then went to bed. Matilda in the back room, me on the pull-out couch. I stared at the ceiling for a long time. Shadows from the light outside crept in through the blinds, painting streaks across the kitchen. There was a tiny TV, but I didn't want to wake Matilda. I was just beginning to drift off when I heard something whistling outside the Winnebago. My heart made a nearly successful escape attempt from my chest. The sound grew louder and louder, peaked at the window directly above my bed, and faded as the whistler moved past us. I lay in bed and held my breath until it was gone. I didn't sleep that night. On day 2 of our road trip, Matilda told me more of her plan.
When we get there, you'll hold Cheshire down while I slug him a few times, just to let them know we're serious. Then we'll ask Cheshire about the cryptic emails and make them tell us everything that they know about the eyes and the creatures. What if they don't know any more than we do?
I asked, swallowing a yawn.
Or what if trying to beat the answers out of Cheshire doesn't work?
Matilda cracked delicate knuckles.
Oh, the beating will work. The beating always works.
She looked at me with a blank face, then stuck out her tongue. I winked and turned on the radio. It was a gorgeous day.
What?
Perfect.
Hold on. She looked at me with a blank face, then stuck out her tongue. I winked. I winked and turned on the radio. What kind of weird silent interaction was that?
You told me that if I didn't have anything nice to say, I shouldn't say anything at all.
Oh.
So.
The beating will work. The beating always works.
And I don't have anything nice to say about it, so I guess I should just keep reading. Right, Hunter?
Yep.
Should I continue, Hunter?
I said yes. I've said yes like 3 times.
I haven't. It's the Discord thing. If you speak, you have to speak longer than like half a second, or I just don't get it.
Yes.
No, see, I heard that one. Thank you.
Okay.
It was a gorgeous day, perfect for a drive. Sun soaked the road. We had the heater running to counter the dawn chill, but there was a warm edge on the wind that suggested the cold was only temporary. I tried to focus on that over the alarming condition of Matilda's skin. Sometime during the night, the red patches on her neck had turned yellow-purple. Thin scars and parallel lines stretched across each blemish. I also noticed that Tilda was hiding her right hand from me, keeping it tucked in the pocket of her denim jacket or hanging out the window. Her condition was troubling. Not that I was doing much better. I caught sight of my face in the mirror. The metallic spots I'd seen earlier were fading, but now the veins in my neck and cheeks had darkened to the point where they were clearly visible. Little scratches had appeared in clusters around my eyes, giving me the appearance of someone who had gone through a briar patch face first. I felt dizzy and my joints were sore. As we pulled into a fast food place to grab breakfast, I prayed that we'd find Cheshire and that they'd have some kind of answers. Clouds began to spill into the sky around midday. Puffy white at first, clouds quickly darkened, and the nice day I'd predicted became dreary. Rain lashed at the windshield faster than the old RV's wipers could keep up. We rocked and rattled with every gust. After an hour, it became clear we were pushing our luck, so Tilda found an exit to a half-empty mall. We parked the RV and spent the rest of the day sitting on the cramped couch together watching horror movies. I woke up after dark. The gentle hum of the rain on the window and the warmth of the Winnebago must have put me to sleep. I felt something pressing against my shoulder. Apparently, Matilda had nodded off as well. Outside, the world was bright white, lit by the parking lot's infinite rows of fluorescent lamps. Beyond the glow of the lights, the sky was dark, clouds obscuring any stars. Matilda's glasses had slipped off as she slept. Eyes or no, she was fox featured. Eyes or no, she was fox featured, stunning and lovely. I tried to wake her up, but she grumbled and held her arms out. Took me a moment to realize she wanted a lift. When I did, I felt a little rush and smiled. I carried her to the bedroom, took off her shoes, tucked her in, and then slipped out to return to the couch, closing the door between us. I was still grinning as I fell back asleep. The smell of smoke caused me to snap awake. My first thought was fire. Then I saw the figure sitting on the edge of the couch, so close he was almost touching my feet.
You're not looking so good.
The smoker croaked. In the dim light, I could see that he was wearing a wrinkled and stained gray suit with the shirt untucked and no tie. The same cloud of smoke hung over his face, hiding his features, though I thought I could see the outline of a trilby hat through the haze.
Am I dreaming?
The smoker grabbed my leg. I yelped. He pulled my foot towards his face. I heard the crunch click of a jaw unhinging and started to struggle. Smoker dropped my foot and I jumped to my feet.
Did you feel that?
I was shaking, standing with my fist raised.
Yeah?
Then you're not dreaming. Sit down.
An invisible force slammed into my shoulders. I fell to the floor, then dragged myself into a sitting position. Smoker sighed, causing a puff of smoke to blow out.
I warned you about the eyes. Offered to take them from you. But now it's too late. The seed is planted and you're nearly ready to bloom. Do you feel it?
My face was tight. I reached up and touched my cheek. The veins there were as hard and cold as stone, stretching against the skin.
What's happening?
The usual change.
Matilda screamed from the bedroom. I tried to stand up, but the same unseen pressure knocked me down. The smoker stood over me. Then he was gone and I could move. I ran to the bedroom door. It was locked. Matilda screamed again and I heard whispering.
Fuck this spooky shit.
I kicked the door. Twice was enough to snap the cheap lock. The room was dark and looked empty except for Matilda. She was curled up near the top of the bed, one arm raised to protect her face.
Tilda, where is it?
She slowly lowered her arm.
Gone. I think there was a girl. Her eyes were, Waltz, they were awful. She bit me. She bit me.
I could see a bloody ring just under Tilda's wrist. Small teeth marks were clearly visible.
Why? What did we do to them?
Like, there's a little Mark Wahlberg on that one. just a little bit. I could hear him speaking through her. All I could do was shake my head.
You stay here tonight. Hey, pick your jaw up the floor, Waltz. No funny business. Just, I feel better if you slept in here, okay? Okay. Don't get hard. Also, I fart while I sleep, so I hope you don't mind anything stinky.
You know what? I actually have something to criticize other than just the obvious. Other than the obvious, I don't like that Matilda was introduced as like a character who knows what she's doing and is capable and has done things like torture and stuff for some reason to get this stuff done. And she's like, and Waltz is kind of like just a klutz who is afraid who she's rescuing. And then as soon as like she brings him along, she suddenly needs rescued and she becomes the weak character who needs comforted and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Isaiah, you can try to cancel Eminem all you want,
obvious.
But it's
you're
not
right.
gonna work.
You're right. Yep, you're completely right. I agree.
Part 5?
I got into bed. Oh, there's still a sentence left.
Oh.
I got into bed, then immediately out when Tilda asked me to switch on a light. Finally settling in, Matilda lifted my arm and moved close to me. We stayed like that until the pigeons outside announced the break of dawn. Part 5. Part 5. All right.
Only 10 more parts.
Do what?
Only 10 more parts.
No, you know, not getting me this time. Not getting me this time. I checked before we started. Oh, you know how like when Kanye was doing all of his Kanye stuff, people would be like, he made graduation. You know, he made graduation. Right now, I'm like,
bro, you cannot compare. You cannot compare Grand Theft Auto to fucking Kanye's Nazi rants, dude.
No, I'm not saying it's in the same sense that graduation was as culturally impactful as, you know, Maria on the Moon. It's like scaled. It's not the same kind of issues at all. I'm just saying that right now, I, like many were with Kanye for good reason, was having issues with the work of an artist. But the previous work was so good that I'm like, we gotta give credit where it's due, right? That's all I'm saying.
We're on part 5, at least.
On part 5.
You want to read the title?
I solved the Fermi paradox and I regret it. We chased the cat.
Cheshire Cat, probably.
The what?
The Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, Cheshire Cat. And also I was right about the entities not being bad per se, trying to save them from the people making the eyes and bear trap and blah, blah, blah. Matilda was sick. She tried to hide it, but the farther we drove, the more clear it became that she was falling apart. Little cracks kept appearing in her skin. They were thin, almost scratches, and under them, something caught the light. The fingers on her right hand were fusing together, and the lines on her throat had widened and turned a reddish purple. More than a few times that week, I saw Tilda sit down, looking either short of breath or dizzy. Wasn't very much better. The dark veins had spread throughout my body, hard enough that I could feel them when I pressed down on my arm or leg. They were like thick wires threading over my muscle and bone. Rough gray patches were also popping up all over my body, and my limbs were so stiff in the morning that Tilda sometimes had to pull me out of bed. We started sharing the RV single bedroom after the night we ran into the smoker and the girl with mirror eyes. So all things considered, it wasn't an entirely bad trip. This was not how I pictured my life going this all started, at least until whatever.
Would you like to stop and see the world's 3rd largest ball of yarn?
Tilda asked. She was riding shotgun.
Tilda, the kind of girl to pass a semi and try to get him to honk. Dang it. He must be having a bad day.
I love you saying that because I feel like that's something they would write into one of these stories. It's like a
we
thing
passed by
cool
semi.
people do. She was riding shotgun, feet up on the dash, and window down as usual. We were somewhere in the Midwest, more than halfway to California, Cheshire. Fields stretched out around us, flat and green and endless. I looked over to one and saw a man in a 12-foot tall eldritch abomination barreling through the hay. Lovers. The sky looked like it could spit out a tornado any second, but there was no rain. I was driving, thumping along on the steering wheel to the song on the radio. At that moment, monster seemed so far away. Tilda with her sunglasses and quick grin, so very close. I opened my mouth to reply when I felt my stomach curl in on itself like an alarmed armadillo.
Gotta stop,
I mumbled, swerving to halt on the shoulder. Thankfully, we were the only vehicle in sight on the 2-lane highway. I barely made it into the bathroom before a geyser of neon blue fluid came bursting out of my mouth.
Are you okay?
Tilda asked, knocking on the door.
Yeah, I feel fine. But maybe we save the yarn for the return trip?
We drove on for most of the afternoon. Matilda and I didn't talk about the weird things we saw along the way, but I could sense things were getting worse for her. I know they were for me. Some nights I would look out at the sky and see unfamiliar stars and impossible configurations. Some nights I stay up cashing in my bad luck, Some nights I call it a draw, but I still wake up. Once I'd woken up to see something like the northern lights outside, only the ribbons of color were all shades of red. Something massive swam through the lights, a black shape the size of an aircraft carrier, covered in dangling tentacles. One of them brushed the top of the RV and the vehicle shuddered. Pressed myself into the bed, holding my breath. Told to stir next to me, but didn't wake up. See, stuff like that I like. Like, separate it from everything else going on. Just these descriptions of like sky beast and stuff like that. That's all really cool to me.
Oh, yeah.
I like all that.
Oh, yeah.
Most of our encounters with the creatures were like that. Bumps and close passings, oddities observed at a distance. The majority of entities ignored us. Maybe they didn't notice us at all. Few came near or at least followed our path, usually with way too many eyes. I always sensed curiosity from those run-ins, but I only ever felt in danger once. The day after we missed the yarn, Matilda and I were having a picnic lunch at a rest stop, discussing our plan of attack for when we finally found Cheshire.
If you hold him, I can hit him until he tells us how to reserve whatever the fuck is going on with us.
I nibbled at a sandwich that I could no longer taste.
I don't know. I feel like we should have a more nuanced approach. You want to hold him while you hit him? We don't even know Cheshire is a he. We don't know anything about them. They might not even be human.
Tilda cut into an apple. Paused.
What if Cheshire is a cat? Or like a group of cats all working together? I fucking hope not. The
rest of my sentence died in my mouth. The picnic area was surrounded by more fields. A moat of green bordered on one side by the highway and the other by a thick forest. Standing just outside of the tree line was a tall figure with a long, thin neck. It was hard to tell at that distance, at least 200 yards, but it looked like the creature was at least 12 feet tall. The thing was standing still facing us. Its head dropped down, turning the top of its body into a question mark. Maybe it couldn't support the weight of its own skull. Something about the creature reminded me of a time I'd walked into my garage and heard a hissing sound. This was only a few months after I'd originally lost my sight. The world had gone dark and every noise stood out. I wasn't sure what kind of animal made the hissing, but I'd backed out of my garage and slammed the door. There's danger in the sound. Sense of violence coiling. I got the same vibe when I looked back at the tall thing on the edge of the field.
Get in the RV.
She turned to where I was looking and froze when she noticed the creature. Tilda even took off her sunglasses to get a better look with empty eye sockets.
What do you think?
She began. Floppy Floppyhead, the clever name I mentally assigned the monster, began to stumble towards us through the tall grass.
RV!
I shouted, jumping in. Matilda was right on my heels, diving in on the passenger side. For a panicked second, I couldn't find the keys. Floppy was moving faster now, sprinting towards across the field, head bouncing like a ball on a string. He was clumsy but quick, way too quick for a creature that gangly. My brain suddenly decided to work, and I pulled down the sun visor. The keys fell into my lap. Floppy had covered almost half the distance between the trees and the RV before I finally turned the ignition. Peeled out of the rest area's parking lot so fast I worried we might roll over. But then we were on the highway, gaining speed, and I felt every single muscle in my body unclench. Floppy burst out behind us onto the road.
Fuck, shitting fuck!
I said, slamming on the gas. The creature looked ridiculous when it ran, all windmilling arms and wobbly neck, but damn, it was fast. We didn't start to put it firmly into our rear view mirror until the Winnebago was wheezing along at 50 miles an hour. I drove in silence for a while.
I think we should limit our stops. Yeah.
We made it to the state line that night. While we were searching for an exit to another rest stop our parking lot when Tilda bolted upright in her seat.
Look!
She said, pointing around a bend in the hill ahead.
Do you see it?
I turned to where she was gesturing. I did see it. A tree taller than any building I'd ever seen towered over the horizon. The setting sun lit the shape from below and cast a shadow across the forest. Blue lights floated around the tree's trunk, moving back and forth in wide, sweeping circles. It was breathtaking and beautiful and seemed so intentional, like we were being signaled.
Head that way. Let's see it up close.
I wanted to. I really wanted to. Something about the dancing lights and the scale of the tree pulled at me. I felt drawn towards them. A honking horn snapped me out of the lock. We drifted across lanes and cut off a car. I put us back on course and stepped on the accelerator.
Maybe we can check it on the way back, like the yarn. But Waltz, no, we can't. Something isn't right. Oh, are you sure? Yes. Okay.
Tilda stared out the window at the tree until the sun was fully down. Darkness and distance hid the shape, but the blue lights were still visible for the better part of an hour, drifting, calling. I do like imagery of giant trees. I think that's cool. I think that's just a cool addition to any story. We crossed into California just before midnight and decided to keep driving until we reached the coast. That's where Tilda expected to find Cheshire. She was tracking their online activity, sitting at the RV's tiny kitchen table with my laptop.
Is this really going to take us right to Cheshire? Like, at their front door? Probably not. The IP should give us a basic idea, but we might have to stake out the neighborhood for any signs. Could be at least a few days.
I saw Tilda through the rearview mirror scratching at her cheek. The strange scars on her throat had started to bleed. She saw me looking, sunglasses lingering on the mirror for a moment, and she picked up the laptop and went to the bedroom. We didn't have to search long for Cheshire's house. Tilda directed me down a series of turns until we were in a sparsely populated neighborhood. The area was caught between suburbia and the sticks. Houses spread out with large yards populated by rusting cars on cinder blocks and stray cats. There was no doubt which was Cheshire's property. Thunderstorm whirred over a single home at the end of the street. I inched the RV closer, then parked a few houses back. The storm was off somehow. Gray clouds jerked and stuttered against an otherwise blue sky. Rain fell in. When I looked closely, I saw that the rain wasn't actually falling. It was rising up from the ground like iron shavings lifted by a magnet. An indigo whip of light also started from the yard and crawled towards the sky. It moved in slow motion like a snake striking in a flipbook. The house was hard to see through the ascending curtain of rain, but it looked old and huge and hungry. Tilda and I sat in the RV, surrounded by a beautiful spring day, watching a pocket storm press down on the house.
Do we knock? Just go say hello, or should we be sneaky and have like a stakeout?
Tilda didn't reply. I turned to see her staring at me, glasses off, empty eyes fixed on me. Her throat was bleeding again, gentle drips of red staining her collar. She was wheezing slightly with each breath.
I'm scared.
I reached out and squeezed her hand.
Yeah, same.
But there's one part left.
Final part! Here we go. Read the title, Isaiah. Part 6, baby. Final part.
Are you excited, Hunter?
Oh, man. I can't wait to see what Cheshire is. I'm excited.
I think it's really cool. Yeah, also, so far, story's not related to the Fermi paradox at all, by the way. I think it's really cool how Matilda's established to be like this cool kind of killer, knows her way around town character, and then she's scared, and the hero has to comfort her and keep her safe, and blah, blah, blah.
You know, dude, sorry that she's a fucking human being, man. You know what?
Yeah, you know what, man? Maybe I just hate love. Maybe I just hate love. Maybe I hate being in love. Maybe I hate in stories. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just an aromantic guy who doesn't care about poetry or writing at all. Maybe that's my problem.
Trust me, I know. Wouldn't I know?
No, you would know. You would know. What
I've sent you flowers time and time again too. No response.
Hunter makes passes at me constantly. And you would think that if I was receptive to it, or if he was receptive to the rejection, he'd get the hint. Here we are.
I'm sorry, I'm in love. So,
you know what he sent me? You know what he sent me yesterday, everyone? You know what he sent me yesterday?
A bouquet of roses.
Nope. No, he just sent me yesterday. He sent me a photograph of his pants and underwear around his ankles. And he's sitting on toilet, so you can't see anything from this perspective, but the implication's there. And he said, going through it right now. And I said, that's a rough one, man. Godspeed. And he said, probably the most poetic phrase of his entire life, mustard seeds into a pot of honey. There's meaning to that. There's deepness to it. That whatever luck would be wished would be meaningless in the face of oblivion like that. And that is how you described a bathroom experience so extreme you had to text me about it.
I hadn't heard from you for a while. I just wanted to communicate with you somehow. I was wanting to connect. And that's what I was experiencing. I had a long day.
This is also the image you sent me earlier. Hey, if you want to check that out, I'll put it on Reddit or something just so you guys can have it for your own devious means. Anyway, part 6. It's such a strange feeling walking through rain that's rising from the ground. Tilda and I debated driving away and waiting until morning to confront Cheshire, but after an hour, Tilda just stood up and walked out of the RV. I followed, passed through the yard with its little upside-down storm quickly. Water was cold and had the consistency of motor oil. Tilda hesitated once we reached the porch.
No, this is how I pictured.
That they put these in there to
You've
just
got to
be a
read
link
it.
off to it.
You've got to read
This
it.
isn't how I pictured things. Hold on.
Oh my God. Compose yourself first.
Hold on. Wow, I love. This isn't how I pictured things ending when all this started. At least we'd finally found Cheshire. There, is that better?
Do we knock?
She asked, leaning against the wall to catch her breath. The lines on her throat were bleeding again.
I could kick the door down.
I lied. My legs were stiff. My muscles felt like jello with cement crawling through my veins. Thunder broke gently above us, ramping up until it was a roar. Another jack of lightning rose in slow motion from the ground towards the clouds. Tilda reached for the doorknob. It was unlocked.
Fuck it.
She said, entering the house. It was like walking into a bad acid trip. Nothing in the house was level. The floors were crooked, the walls uneven. The little furniture I could see was mismatched, broken, almost hostile. The entry room was dominated by twin staircases that twisted off into the ceiling. There was a bearskin rug covering the wooden floorboards. Only someone had replaced the bear's head with a dirty blonde wig. I reached down towards the hair and recoiled. It wasn't a wig.
We shouldn't be here.
Said, turning for the door. It was gone. There was nothing but a blank, grimy wall. Tilda made a sound that was either a cough or a laugh.
Guess we gotta keep going.
We pressed on. The halls were narrow and seemed to stretch on far longer than they should. They were full of blind corners, abrupt turns, and the occasional dead end. Some halls were dim. Others were so bright I had to squint and shade my eyes with my hand. On and on they rolled. Must have walked for more than an hour. Tilda was struggling to breathe the entire time, rasping and stopping every few minutes. I wasn't faring much better. Each step felt like I had cinder blocks chained to my feet. One of the hallways was lined with pictures. I tried not to look at them too closely. There were portraits with blurred faces, a landscape under a night sky where a single red star made the paint look like it was bleeding. Halfway down the hall, Tilda stopped.
What is...
I started to ask. Then I saw the picture. It was an oil painting of Tilda and me crucified to the side of the RV. Limbs nailed and...
That's spooky.
we got our crucifixion.
That's scary.
Is that scary, Hunter? Are you scared?
Yeah, imagine going to a place and then you see a oil painting of yourself. You're crucified. And it's like, how did you get that painting? It's creepy.
That's pretty scary, man, because realistically, most people probably don't have a painting like that.
No.
But here's their painting. So that's creepy that they have one. Our faces were both warped with absolute pleasure. We were laughing so hard that our jaws stretched down to our chest.
Let's try to go a little faster.
Tilda said, turning. Took a breath to calm myself. Made the mistake of glancing at the picture again and felt my stomach heave. Tilda waited while I got myself together. Finally, we came to a door. The knob was brass and warm to the touch. I noticed a hum coming from the other side, almost a buzzing.
What do we do if Cheshire's in there? I don't know, Walt. I don't know what to do anymore.
Tilda reached for the knob.
All I can do is roll with it.
The room was gigantic, cavernous, and uncomfortably humid. Thick, hot air slammed into Tilda and me as we entered. The space was dark, with only enough light to pick out silhouettes and shapes. I fumbled for a light switch and, to my surprise, actually found one. Click. Light flooded the room.
Hello.
Cheerful voice called out. I think I screamed, or Matilda did. Maybe both of us. We'd found Cheshire. He was the size of a bear, a never-ending tumble of wet skin. Cheshire reminded me of a partially deflated balloon, somehow both bloated and saggy at the same time. His body appeared stuck to the wall, flesh merging with wood in a bloody whirl. Every time he opened his mouth, fat black tongue dropped out all the way down to his navel. Cheshire was also completely naked.
Found me!
He shouted, bouncing up and down, causing his skin to ripple.
Cheshire?
Tilda asked. The creature bounced again.
Yes! Hello, friends! Hello, Waltz! Hello, Matilda! Waltz and Matilda! Waltz and what the fuck, dude? What the fuck took you so long? What the fuck took you so long?
At the beginning of this story, you know, we had Mr. Widemouth as a doctor, and we had a cowboy with his eldritch love interest, and like I didn't know how good I had it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that thing from The Office. I wish you could know you were in the good times before the good times were over. Didn't know what I had 2 hours ago. Rewind through the video right now. Go look at me then. That was a happier man.
And then, we're reading an alien story today called the Fermi Paradox.
All that felt like, well, you know. I was a different man than the man I am now.
Don't worry, I'll do the line. I'll do the line better.
Yes! Hello, friends! Hello, Waltz! Hello, Matilda! Waltz and Matilda! Waltz and... What the fuck took you two so long?
Shout sent me scrambling for the door, but of course, it was gone. I hated that house deeply.
You're the last two. Why don't you have a seat?
I glanced around. The giant room was entirely empty except for a bed the size of a swimming pool in the corner. The sheets were stained and freshly dripping material that looked terribly similar to Cheshire's skin. Sat on the floor, Tilda sat next to me.
Come closer?
Cheshire asked. We did not.
Well, fine then. Well, you found me. I made it as easy as I could, but you all still took so very long. The others have already gone. Even Calvin and Violet. I thought you might leave before them, but no. Calvin went off in his cloud of smoke, and little Violet fell into a looking glass. She always liked you.
Cheshire turned towards Matilda.
You've seen them, haven't you? You gotten some visits, yes? But now they're gone, and you're all that's left. What's gonna happen to us? You'll change. You'll become.
What? What are we going to become?
Cheshire shrugged. At least, I think he shrugged. The slabs of flesh where his shoulders should be rolled like waves against the shore.
It's not for me to know what you'll become, only that you will. The eyes are seeds, you see. Ha! You see? And once the seeds are planted, there's no way to know what you'll grow. Grow. And once you've changed, you'll need to leave. Why? And leave for where? I don't know that either. The change will make this world unsuitable. The air will become poison. The sunlight will become heavy enough to break bone. But you're in luck. There's so many other worlds. And so many holes between this world and the others.
Cheshire smiled, tongue dropping so low it nearly touched the ground.
There's a house with 100 doors that you could travel forever and never explore at all. There's a night with a starless sky where the forgotten crawl back home, and a clearing in the woods where the devils dance and lost children decorate the trees. There's a dying place where a coward king waits on a throne of glass, and in the middle of it all, a neighborhood sitting on a slow hill, wedged in between a crack and reality. Oh, the places you could go. And in time, you might even learn how to visit here, how to travel back and forth, and how to find hopeless things, how to feed. You don't make any sense. Why me? Why are you doing this to me? Because you were there. Because you needed something from us. Because you accepted a gift and now we're giving you more. Have you felt the call yet? The doors all have a certain pull for those who can see them.
I thought of the tall tree with its blue lights drifting in the sky, the way it tugged at us, and how much Tilda wanted to see it. If we passed something like that again, would we be able to stay away? Tilda stood up.
Enough. I'm tired of listening to you ramble bullshit. You're gonna tell me how to stop whatever's happening to me. I'll hurt you until you tell me. I'll hurt you permanent. I promise I will.
Cheshire smiled and smiled and smiled, mouth stretching until his face split in half. Something fuzzy crawled out of the hole. It was a skull with a spine attached, all the bones covered in thick black hair.
See you on the other side.
The skull said in Cheshire's voice, slithered down the mountain of sagging flesh that used to be its body, then shot across the floor too fast to follow. Tilda dove at the creature, trying to grab hold. Cheshire slipped through a seam between the wall and floor. He was gone.
Jesus.
There wasn't much else to say. Tilda slammed her fist on the ground.
Fuck all of this.
Cheshire's flesh was slowly dripping onto the floor, sliding off the wall like yogurt. It already reeked of spoiled meat and, for some reason, strawberries. Behind the skin was a door. Nowhere else to go. We went through and found ourselves standing outside of Cheshire's house on the porch. The storm had stopped. The sky was a perfect April blue.
What now? Maybe we can track him down. Maybe we can...
Tilda silently crossed the yard and headed towards the RV. After a moment, I followed. By the time I got inside, she'd already gone into the bedroom and shut the door. It was locked.
Matilda?
She didn't answer. I heard her crying. I wondered what it was like for her, crying without eyes. Were there still tears? Sat on the small couch in the RV's kitchen and waited. 20 minutes later, Tilda emerged, calm and pale, sunglasses on.
How about we go see that ball of yarn? Sure.
I said, getting up to start the RV.
That sounds like a good trip.
We didn't hurry. We took our time driving, exploring random exits, stopping often to get out and just walk around. Both of us were dissolving, slowly. Tilda's fingers and toes were growing into each other. Found lumps of her hair in the shower each day, as well as teeth. She stayed bundled up, shivering even in the heat, always struggling to get enough air. My veins continued to blacken, to become hard, pressing against skin that had become as rough as bark. It wasn't so bad. We had good times, even then. Sleeping in until noon, staying up until dawn, always together. We saw more and more strange creatures each day. Buzzers with antlers and human eyes, clouds that dragged tails across the ground as they drifted, and we saw doors, or usually, I guess we felt them. Cheshire was right. They called to us, pulled us. Tilda felt them stronger than I did. One night we were driving past a hospital and Matilda grabbed the wheel, tried turning us into the parking lot. I wrestled control back and slammed on the accelerator. Once the building was out of sight, Tilda settled down.
I hurt so much.
She told me, rolled up in the passenger seat.
I don't think we can stay here, but I'm afraid to go. We'll be okay. We'll find a way to fix things.
Last night we slept at a rest area near a forest. When I woke up in the morning, Matilda was gone. I found her trail easy enough. Bloody footprints leading off into the woods. Soon I started coming across her clothes, the rest of her hair, all of her fingernails and toenails. The grisly procession led to the edge of a small, still lake. The water was chilly and threatened me with my own deteriorating reflection. I felt the pull then. The lake was a door, a thin spot where the fabric of reality was worn and frayed, a hole into another world. I doubted the lake was deep, but I sensed that I was standing on the cusp of a terrible drop. If I went into the water, I knew I would sink until all light was gone, then further still. I wondered what was on the other side, what things might live in all of that darkness and pressure. Most of all, I wondered if I'd ever see Matilda again. There was another pull, overwhelming, a riptide trying to drag me down. I panicked and slipped, stumbling away from the lake as fast as I could. That door was not my door. I put some miles between myself and the rest area. Even during that short drive, I felt other doors calling to me. If I stay here too long, I know I'll die, but if I leave, I'd never be able to come back. And who knows what I might be walking into if I cross over. The doors whisper to me, promise and beg and threaten. There are infinite fields, unfamiliar stars, pits, eyes, and hungry things all waiting. I won't be able to resist much longer, and I'm so scared at how inevitable it feels. But I'm going to see that giant ball of yarn if it's the last thing I do. Just wish I didn't have to do it alone. I'm so tired. Miss Matilda.
And that is the end of I Solved the Fermi products and I regret it. It was good, man.
You know, it's crazy that he never, I don't think he ever brought up the Fermi paradox at all after the intro.
He did. He
or
said
aliens or life or stuff like that.
He said, well, you know, it's the Fermi paradox, but it's not really that. He's like, it's just a theory, is what he said. Very beginning.
Right.
You know, this is a good. This is. Did the Maria and the Moon come after this or before this?
Before.
It's an interesting thing to see someone kind of take. The thing about No Sleep, and I'm curious to see this. Is this feels like an idea where each time they were posting, they didn't. I don't think it didn't really feel like there was. I doubt. I'm curious to know if at the beginning of this story, if that's how the writer knew that it was going to end that way. And I feel like a lot of people on No Sleep use these parameters and they use these rules that No Sleep has to kind of like just try out new creative things or like unravel ideas or see how they connect stuff. Like it's not the same as like a traditional book where, you know, it's like all in a completed thing. It's just just whenever you want to do a new post, you just add to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm curious if this was just an experiment or a thought or something, because to me, this is a good example of a person that obviously knows how to like make a story, write something compelling. And it seems like somebody just trying to like take a bucket of ideas of things they've thought and utilize them into a story or just like pour them out. And they're not sure how to navigate. It's like dumping a big bucket of puzzle pieces onto a table and kind of just looking at it, like not really like formulating it into a giant picture and just kind of like realizing that there's a bunch of pieces that need to be put together, but it's just like, it is what it is. It's a good example of like, I mean, by the end, it becomes almost like left-right game in the way that like two people are going. It's all these crazy things are happening. They're mutating. They're ascending. There's really no end to this journey. It is just kind of like a ever expanding kind of idea, but it's lessened by whatever you're about the millennial humor, whatever the character like that, you know, that's like just personal preference. But I do think that it's so abrasive and so surreal from the get-go that by the end, none of this stuff really has any grabbing weight to it. Like the cool, like the idea that like Matilda's like dissolving the same way that Cheshire was and that they're like ascending. Almost like Cheshire to me was like a Pinhead-esque character who's like, you asked for a gift and this is like, you know, we have such sights to show you kind of thing. And then like their physical body decays and they slip off into whatever unknown world, which maybe this story connects with another thing. But this idea that like there's these doorways and stuff and that, you know, Matilda's dissolving, she crawls into the lake, which is a door. There's a lot of like interesting ideas, but since the beginning we've heard of like creatures with a billion eyes looking at them from drains and stuff. I think that it's just it's an interesting way of showing that like building on like setting things up to keep building and not you know, burn out too quick to where there's nowhere to go, you know, like if you bust that load early, there's no way to recapture that magic later, in my opinion. So yeah.
I think if you look at it objectively, even removing all my gripes and how furious I am right now, just looking at it objectively, people have weird experiment done to them. They can see supernatural things. They go to a guy who supposedly knows something. They see some more weird things, and then the guy tells them that they're actually part of a lot of weird things, and then he like effectively dies or leaves, and then the story ends. So, you know, also you probably saw the hyperlinks. All of those things that the thing was describing are other stories from Grand Theft Auto. So
it is just like a hodgepodge of their universe.
It's just like throwing your whole catalog into a thing, which is fine. And if people want to do that, I think a good rule of thumb, and this is more so for Harry than anyone else, I think a good rule of thumb would be, don't give us stories that require prior reading or extended universe, because there's some people who like them, but I ain't gonna like them, and people ain't gonna like what I have to say about them if they do.
The original concept, the original concept of a guy, like of a blind person, which they didn't really harp on him being blind very long, which is also another thing too.
I don't even think they mentioned it. They're just like, I have eyes now.
Only one time, I think in part 4 or part 5, was he just like, oh, well, you know, this is whenever the world was like dark and, you know, whatever. And now it's a different, it was like it's one line, but I still think like the concept of an idea of like a person getting their eyesight changed and then like you're able to see into like an alternate universe or something, though we've seen that before, I still think that it's a fun concept. Or even the idea that like you go in for a routine surgery or something and it's like you are being kept by aliens, or like you're being experimented on, like like this idea of like the setup of the hospital I thought was just kind of fun. I just wanted to live there a bit longer. And I mean, it just shows too of like it seems like he was the author was writing a story, and then halfway through either they just didn't care. Not that they didn't care, that they're just like, I just don't know if I like that idea. I'm just going to pivot it, because we get introduced to all these characters, and then the next beat's like all of them are gone. It just seemed like it seemed kind of rushed, versus like there was a lot of angles to maybe set up and like play with some of the characters. And, you know, it just comes down to like how much do they want to invest into the story, which it seems currently, in my opinion, that was the investment. They were like, I just want to wrap this up, is how it felt.
Yeah. I agree. I would agree with that.
But you know, we got gay Kansas sex, and we got
That's pretty good with the monster, and we got once again Mr. Widemouth, the doctor, and that's pretty good, I guess.
It's a surreal thing though of seeing. I'm always curious if people see stories do well and then they want to try a version of that thing. Like, was it a thing where trying to do a version of like left-right game? Is it like, because so many of these stories also lean into characters who experience like weird anomalies, and they use the post format to be like, hey, so this weird thing happened today. You know, not that that's necessarily what this was, but there was a lot of like Tales from the Gas Station, Lonely Radio Broadcast Station, like all that. Like it had that vignette of like very weird, surreal things happening to a character, but it just didn't have any of the buildup of like making you understand who this person is, what do they want, what are their motive, like there was all those things. But I'm curious if like people see those things and are like, oh, I'd be curious to try. Like I'm curious to try to write a story like that. You know, which there's no problem in that either. I mean, like just be like, yeah, you know, whatever. At the end of the day, too, Isaiah, it's like these are just free stories that people are posting out and like just throwing out into the aether to kind of be like, oh. And I respect at least the idea of like someone wanting to do a story to be creative and stuff.
Yeah, I think even then there's like a misunderstanding of how left right game and stuff like that can maintain like brevity while also being scary, because the brevity was never at the cost of the situation or the creatures. The brevity was always character based. So there would be light moments or like funny comments made between Rob and Bristol. But it was never about the monsters or the situation. No one turned left and then a character's like, let me guess, next is right or whatever. Or they didn't see like,
And I think a large
Rob's son's dead's wife ghost and being like, what's her problem? You know,
well,
like
they never
they
cheapen
kept the stuff that needed to be scary, and then the lightness was between each other. Whereas all these stories, like this one and My Property Isn't Normal and stuff like that, love to make the jokes about the threat. So therefore, they quit being threatening.
Yeah, and I do think that stories like the Left Right Game or other stories that we've read that have that brevity, I think is just because we spend so much time with the characters, you build them up to where you feel like you know them and you have that kind of almost casual cadence with them, you know? Whenever you're looking at something and you feel like you don't know a character, I feel like you are the weird like the weird what is eccentricities? What is it called? Eccentric way. Well, just whenever a character kind of like goes and makes like that big of a change, it's kind of it just kind of hits you a bit harder because you're just like, well, fuck, well, why are we joking like that? Because we have no build up to who they are or their character or anything, and especially in a story like this where it's like we're 3 parts in, and that's when we get hit with it. Was a bit tonally a whiplash as well.
Yeah. I agree.
But,
my feelings on it have been pretty clear. And like you said, don't be mean. So, yep, that's my thoughts. Yep.
It was a nice, you know what? I'm glad that we got to sit down and read a story today. And I'm glad we got to hang out for a bit. And we thank you guys for hanging out with us as well. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to give us a nice rating there. I appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you guys. And thank you for sharing the story and supporting the authors. And also, if you wanted to get some extra content, feel free to sign up to the Patreon. We got exclusive episodes there. And until next time, guys, stay creeped. We love you. We'll see you then.
I didn't realize it until after I got done reading, but precisely at the time that I was getting on to Hunter about making it explicitly making the story with the cowboy and the Eldritch Being thing not wholesome. He was sending me, I think these are VHS or DVD covers for gay porn. He was sending them to me on Discord, such as Riding with Gay Daddy. So he's sending me these in the middle of the recording. So if you ever see me reading and like I look over and I'll just stop or do something, just know it's probably something like that. Whatever. Bye.